This episode of An Unexpected Podcast is brought to you by Christopher Walters. Thank you.
Hello, friends, and welcome to An Unexpected Podcast. I'm Ez.
And I'm Lane.
And we're talking Tolkien.
We're coming to you from the Shire of America, the beautiful state of Ohio, in a little village called Amandra.
This week, we are meeting someone we didn't quite expect as we cover the White Rider as a part of our journey through Middle-earth.
Who is it, Ez? Who is it? Who is it?
It's someone special. This someone who's so near and dear to me. This is...
Did you feel like you were coming home in a way, or home was coming back to you?
Right, yeah, something like that. It just feels really good. I'm really excited for this chapter, so I actually told Lane to kind of help push us along because I will probably want to just, hyper-focus on a couple lines and not move on.
He has faith in literally the worst
I know
pacekeeper in the history of the Lord of the Rings.
I
feel inspired. I feel like, maybe that's the task you're laying upon me, Gandalf, and I can rise to meet the challenge. I'm thinking of a John Mayer song, all right? So I feel like the last how many chapters since we lost whoever it is we're about to meet this chapter.
Yeah.
That you've just been thinking, something's missing.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Something's missing. And I don't know what it is. It's Gandalf. No, I don't know what it is. It's Gandalf. At all. Yeah. It's Gandalf.
Yeah.
Has that been the song of your heart, bro?
That's kind of where I'm at.
It's a great song, by the way. John Mayer.
Yeah.
Heavier Things. Go check it out.
Okay. That's where I'm at. That really, I guess he can. That's proof he can kind of, connect with anything and everything. So.
Or it's just a random one. Table of contents. Did you say this already? Nothing out of the ordinary. Pretty much a straightforward episode, guys.
Yeah.
Except Ezra's just going to be fanboying the whole time.
Right. Yeah. So nothing. Yeah. Straightforward. Should be pretty good. We got some. Some cool little nidbits. We got some packages in the mail. So Bywater Post is literally.
It's literally overflowing now too. So I have to apologize for any mouth breathing you hear. I am congested and was just bragging to one of my friends at work, Josh Brown, that I never get sick. I never get sick. And here I am on a sick day, sick, congested, headache, sinus issues, you name it. So if you hear any, it's just me over here. That's all. But when I can catch a good sniff, man, I'm smelling something pretty delicious. What are we sniffing on right now?
Well, yeah. So basically, we've got these. We got in the mail some candles. We're always talking about we typically burn a candle. I often talk about the hand soap that's in the bathroom here at the Smiths. And this is a hand poured soy candle from Texas Candle Cakery. And so that is www.texascandlecakery.com.
Yes. Our good friend and upper Rachel noticed that we tend to always burn a candle during a reread, right? We get out. We like to engage all the senses here. We really even touch every once in a while because Ezra plays footsie. You guys know that. And so anyway, she sent this message a while ago, said, "Hey, I'd love to send you some candles." I was like, are you kidding me? We would love that. I think I tried to keep it kind of secret from Ezra because I wanted it to be a surprise.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So he came here today, and I was like, dude, we got to go pick up a package. I said, a package is in.
A huge package, by the way. It's huge.
Yeah. I was like, you don't know what, you can't think of what it is? He's like, no, dude, no. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to tell you. It's a surprise. I know what it is. So we open this up, and I'm looking at how many candles, Ez? Maybe 10?
About 10
like
candles?
5 of each for each of us. She even threw in one for Matt Brady, because of how much you guys love eggnog.
Yes.
So we have an eggnog. We have a strawberries with cream. We have a pumpkin spice latte. We have a tobacco. We're smelling the tobacco pipe one right now.
Right.
These candles, guys, they're soy. They're all natural. They're hand poured. Rachel does this herself.
Yeah. Yep.
Each candle is unique in that way because they're individually hand poured. Go check out her website. Get some of her candles. We do have a challenge.
Yeah, we do.
We have not talked to her about this yet, Rachel, so we're putting you on the spot. We're sorry.
Yeah.
But we thought it might be kind of cool to go to the next level.
Yeah.
And maybe this book club, this podcast has a signature candle.
Yeah.
And I think you know the name. What's the name?
Don't forget the sniffing.
An unexpected candle.
An unexpected sniff.
Don't forget this.
I mean,
make it whatever you want. Maybe it could smell like the Shire. Maybe it could smell like Ezra's
wouldn't it be kind of
beard.
cool? I mean, maybe she has a couple of different, like, I don't know if she could maybe send us something we could do a poll almost, and maybe kind of like,
Now we're talking.
Now we're talking influences. Again, we've put her on the spot, guys.
Okay.
So if we can't,
so Rachel,
okay,
you're going to get us a list of flavors to choose from, scents to choose from. We'll put it up in a poll, and maybe the winner, that could be the don't forget the sniffing candle.
Yeah. I just
wow.
think it'd be awesome. Right?
It'd be awesome.
It'd be really cool.
But all I know is this is a beautiful smell. We might have to switch over to strawberries with cream when we do strawberries with cream. Okay. I don't know if that's possible. But
we can make it happen.
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah, so super exciting.
Yeah, bud.
All right.
So thank you, Rachel. Thank you for that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful gift.
So. Okay, let's see. We're in quick counsel, correct?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, just so you guys know, that's where we're at.
We jumped there quickly.
Quick apology to Caleb Smith last week. Guys, I mean, by the end of my reading there, I mean, he knows it. Lane knows it. I just, like it was so serious, and I was doing such a good job, and so it's such a good, it's well written.
The orchids.
How did it go?
The orchids will be in. Orchids and blossom in the thicket, and the thick of the strawberries. Sorry.
I just lost my focus.
It was like it'd do a mashup where we take Sam actually saying the line, and you
and me,
like right after it.
Yeah, right.
just for me, for me.
Yes,
no,
because like I halfway.
I
through
really am
kinda,
just teasing you.
I know, but halfway through I kind of realized where it was going. I was like, oh well, jack that up. Just push through. Just push through. But it was really well written. It was just very poorly read. So
it was late at night.
Super late.
It had been. It was a pretty emotional, Bywater Post Tolkien story. So,
but hey,
you were a little fried, bro.
Remember your Shire.
Okay? Remember your Shire. So,
yes. Hey, and honestly, today, we are actually still daylight. So it is. It's actually morning.
Fitting for the White Rider,
which is
showing up, shining like the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we've ever done this Thursday morning at.
This is great.
10 o'clock.
It's actually great.
This is awesome.
Feels really good.
Yeah,
so
it does for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Into dropping eaves. We're gonna get there because we have a lot to talk about this chapter. So we'll drop some eaves. Amazon TV show news. First up, there nothing new, but there was an article. Oh, happy Halloween, by the way. Just passed. Happy birthday to Peter Jackson on the 31st. He is a Halloween baby.
Nice.
And Goldberry's birthday is coming up on the 3rd.
Yeah.
So this weekend will be a big celebration. She doesn't want one, but I'm gonna make sure it's a great weekend for her.
Yeah.
But anyway, just 2 days ago on Tuesday, the 30th, there was a new article that came out. Just pretty much summarized everything we already know. Nothing new. Peter Jackson won't be involved. It won't retell the Lord of the Rings story. Not sure if any of the characters will be involved again. Any of the actors.
From what we've learned, basically, it won't even take place in Middle Earth.
I think it's a galaxy far, far away.
So what? This is breaking news, guys. This stuff is coming out, and it's like, I mean, I don't know.
We have no idea of the casting, and it's a couple of years away.
What else do we not know?
This article is pretty much telling us how much we don't know, but it's what we know so far. So, you know what? We've talked about this ad nauseum, given the amount of news we've gotten so far, that we're game for whatever. We're excited to see where this goes, whether they do some kind of anthology where they focus on a different character every season, or whether they, who knows? Who knows? Go back and tell the origin story. Yeah. Or if they start with Aragorn and we just kind of see the response and go from there. We're good with whatever. We just feel the more Middle Earth and the more Tolkien we have out there, the better.
The better. Okay.
So let's keep that rolling.
Yep.
Thinking the response to the whole Starting a Narnia podcast book club was...
That was extreme.
It's pretty big deal. I mean, we even got some personal messages.
Right. Now, mind
advocating that.
We would not, we are not stopping this podcast. So, that would be that's some pretty strong support. So
it is. And we were kind of messing around, kicking around too, how fun that would be.
Yeah.
Because we both love Narnia.
We do. Yeah.
So
we'll say
we'd have to get the name just right though. So I was thinking maybe we could keep the whole up theme going.
Yeah.
Further up, further in.
Yeah.
Ezra didn't like that one. So
no,
we're gonna have to
I
keep
actually
searching.
do. I actually do like it. I just am blown away that you're. This is what you do, man. You're a slogan machine.
It's not a great name for a podcast though, but we could keep
that could
a
be
similar
like
logo.
And it could also be like
would be there.
Like the phrase you said, like kind of like a motto.
Join us as we go further up and further in.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, geez, we shouldn't give this away.
Yeah, what people are gonna take it? Crap. What is wrong with you?
Hopefully, there's no lion heads out there. So yeah. Anyway, that's entertaining. We will definitely think about that, and who knows what the future holds, guys?
Who knows?
We know some of what it holds, but we got to get there first.
Yeah.
Okay. Tolkien biopic. Still no major news, although I do have a leak from an insider, someone involved in production, that it will be coming out within the next 6 months. So, if you believe me, then God bless you.
Yeah.
No, but I did attach, and I'll post these on the group. I did attach some photos as you're looking at those right now.
Yeah, I am.
From production.
Yeah.
So it looks like the one I referenced last week was Tolkien out. It looked like he was at school. It looks like he's been playing some rugby, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
He's got his collar, he's got his high socks, and his boots there, and he's covered in mud. Man, I tell you, those old rugby jerseys were just sick, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Talking to someone, I'm not really sure who that lady is. No idea. And then there's a shot of not while they're shooting, they're just kind of off camera because they're wearing big like North Face jackets. Yep. Nicholas Hoult and Lily Collins, who plays Edith Bratt, who would become Edith Tolkien, and then down below Lily Collins side by side with Edith.
That's
pretty shocking, huh?
It is actually.
They nailed the casting, and I tried to find there was a good side by side of Nicholas and Tolkien himself that I couldn't find. It got lost in the Google world, but again, like spot on, man. If they can get this, when they get this thing out, I think like showing his involvement in the war, showing this love story, it's gonna be. We're gonna need to bring some Kleenex to the theater, or we're just gonna be balling on each other's shoulders.
That's fine.
Kind of a deal.
It does look. I love the images though, because it really does look awesome.
Yeah,
you know,
beautiful. So anyway, that to look forward to. Like I said, next 6 months, put some money on it. Go to Vegas.
Right.
I want to put some money on the Tolkien biopic. See. In other corners of Middle Earth, we've got an update on the Billy Boyd World Tour. Charlotte, we're sorry you have not gotten him yet.
Yeah,
he's been lost in Fangorn. Billy has been lost in Fangorn. I think we've recently found him. So, guys, we're apologizing because it's not Charlotte who has not gotten us photos. Billy we haven't gotten Billy to her yet.
Right. And so...
And he's coming. He's on his way.
We truly thought we sent Billy out. And actually, Billy's packaged and addressed and everything. He just got lost in Fangorn.
The White Rider isn't always, efficient. Yeah, he works his own time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right. There's probably something, a greiter power at work there. So
I think so.
We'll see.
I think so. But he will be to Charlotte very soon, and we'll get some wonderful pictures.
Yeah.
Some poll results. This week we asked, do you find Treebeard boring or fascinating? Thankfully, this was overwhelmingly fascinating. 92% of you said, yep, I'm intrigued by him. 8% said, find him kind of boring, and that's okay too. 160 votes there. And then our bonus poll, just because I needed to know, do you like how big phones are these days?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, big screen got 44% of the vote, which means, I'm not the minority. I'm in the majority.
Yep.
No, I miss thumb texting, referring to smaller phones, being able to one-hand it. Got 56% of 100 votes.
Yeah, we're getting a really good...
I think we just need to campaign to Apple and say it needs to happen. Bring back the SE.
Yeah.
I don't know why you cleared them all off within a week, right before I was going to get them. But they're gone. Erica Barnes said she got one, 3 weeks ago.
Great.
Now here I am calling into Verizon. I called into Verizon. They were like, oh, yeah, no problem. We've got tons of them. We'll ship them. And then she went to place the order, and she goes, oh, that's weird. I have to apologize. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, I guess they're not available any longer. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
And my screen just cracked, so now I'm looking through a cracked.
Yeah, I can't even get a hold of you.
Dude, my phone, you know what my phone is? It's the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, man, it is. Yeah.
I made a lot of modifications.
I just don't know if it could. Yeah, right. I'm not sure if it could make the Kessel Run at all.
Not anymore.
At all.
At one time, baby. Back in the day. It's time, for sure.
Wow.
All right, man.
Well, cool. I'm glad to see the engagement on those polls, man.
Just the Facebook group
awesome.
in general. I mean, you guys are crazy. It's impossible to keep up.
By the way, real quick, shout out to everyone who, some of our new listeners, people who have recently come into the group, because I've gotten some of your messages here, and we've gone in and just replied to you quickly, just to sort of say we love you and we're glad you're here, part of the fellowship. And a lot of people are coming into those episodes 1 and 2, and they're sending their Bywater post in on Facebook Messenger, which is fine still. I'm collecting those and putting those in a separate doc, and so they're coming. They're coming.
And Phil, your review finally came through.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I heard angels singing yesterday. I checked it and it said, Phil Seidel has left a review. I'm like, yeah, right again. So for those of you who don't remember, his review has been trying to come through for the past 4 months.
I would get a notification probably 6 times a day saying that, Phil
Seidel has left a review.
I was like, man. And then I would look at it, because we would get a preview.
Come up.
We'd get a preview of it, though.
First couple lines.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, is it just... Yeah, so some glitch there with Facebook, because we saw it for weeks on end.
Maybe it took that long for them to review the whole thing.
I'll tell you what, we'll never forget Phil, because,
that's right, man. But really kind words spoken there. We appreciate that. Like all of you guys communicate to us.
Yeah,
we don't hear any negativity. It's a beautiful thing.
You guys are wonderful. Go check out some of Phil's posts. He's been doing quite a bit. Yeah, with the history bit there, and then he's in Discord all the time, by the way, guys. Yep. So I'll see it. I'll see him and others jumping in there at work, and I try to jump in when I can. So that's definitely a fun little place to go and just have it's real informal, conversation back and forth. So yeah. All right, my friend.
Jump into the reread.
Wow, that is record time.
How fast was that? 20 minutes?
We're under. Yeah, I know.
Holy moly!
I know. I'm feeling it. That's fine. You saved us plenty of time to really talk about this awesome chapter and get after it. So
I wanted to honor your love of this character, your desire to really dig deep into Gandalf.
Yep, that's what I like to do.
Yeah,
So weird. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know where to begin here.
Where to start here?
Okay,
how about a recap from last chapter?
Let's go ahead and recap it. Last week we had the hobbits were moving through the forest, and as they're drinking some water there, they come across someone they didn't
oldest being in Middle Earth.
Yeah, Treebeard.
No big deal.
Yeah, no big. So they interact with him. By the end, they're passed off to another Ent, Quick Beam.
Yep.
And so the Ent mood happens. We talk about Isengard. They're fired up. They're ready to go. And by the end of that chapter, the Ents are marching.
Yes.
And I think what I like about that chapter and this chapter is the stories that. Okay, so in that chapter last week, in Treebeard's chapter, they're kind of talking about the songs that would be sung.
Yeah.
We
don't often have that, do we? Well, I guess we kind of do. We
sometimes
do with Bilbo and the Hobbits and stuff.
And I love the idea of thinking about, and I even think about this sometimes just in our own lives, just
great
to have
moments.
that adventure.
Yeah.
The songs that will be sung. When this is going to be kind of, I don't even know how to say this without being like, I don't know, but when my time comes, okay, I want my friends to gather in the woods, okay.
You've told me this before.
I have, all right. Yeah. And I told you I want you to make this pyre, all right. And I want you.
Are we burning your body?
No. Well, I mean, you might want to talk to my family about that, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind.
Kind of cool, wouldn't it?
It would be kind of cool, actually. And just send me off. Sing the songs, talk about the good times, and that sort of thing. And I thought about Treebeard and the long life that he's lived there.
Yeah.
And just that this is something that will be sung about.
Yeah.
This and they kind of know that they're going to possibly their doom.
Yeah,
it's what they say. Yeah. And it's sort of like, but here we go.
Yeah.
We'll do our part.
Yeah, we will, and that'll be worthy of remembrance, kind of. A thing.
And it just really inspired me. I was inspired by that conference I went to a couple weeks ago, and
we've just been having a good time too. Haven't we?
It's like get up, go. What can you do? Just be inspired.
Well, the tide's turning, Ezra.
It is.
There's a storm, and the tide has turned, my friend. And it's funny you're talking about that because, and I'm sure this is where you were going, but I'm going to cut you off and take credit for it. We have a character in this chapter, right? Who we don't know who it is yet, who he is,
right?
She, and kind of doing the same thing. We get a glimpse inside this character's mind, looking ahead, And for the first time, this character has clarity about what's to come and what's probably going to happen. And we're reading it and we're like, oh, shoot.
Yeah.
And we imagine sitting there with our 3 hunters thinking, wow, this is a big deal. This is going to be put in a song someday. Like the reality, you get so stuck in your quest, right?
Yeah.
Think about us personally. Yeah. You get so stuck in your daily quest. You set your mind at the beginning of each day of how you want to try and live that day. And you do that so repetitively, and you get into a routine of doing good things.
Guys, I'm already crying.
Of doing good things, right? And then every once in a while, you're taken out of that moment, and you think, okay, you know what? This what I'm doing here is worth it.
Yeah.
What I'm doing here, if no one else remembers, I know the people closest to me will remember who I'm trying to be.
Yep.
And we're getting that. We're getting that here for sure.
I just want to say that the White Rider came back at a time in my life when I needed him most.
Jeez, dude.
And this is we often talk about how the chapters parallel what's going on.
I know.
And I'm telling you right now, I said this last week too, and it was like I didn't even really think about it, but I was talking about just where I'm at in my life and the negativity and the things that have been going on. And I sent Goldberry and Lane a couple text messages just talking about how I'm trying to be more positive and keeping my friends and people in this group are so positive. Like, sometimes you want to, we talked about social media getting kind of whatever, but like I want to dive in there because you guys are so positive. There's so much goodness. This is a place we can go to, and we can sit at the feet, of this great man, of this great individual,
the sun in his
who
hands.
has been sent back to us.
Yeah.
In our greatest, time of need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
they
amazing.
may have 9, but we have 1.
We're the one.
Get off me.
Get out of here, dude. None of your weapons can harm me.
It's over. The episode's over.
Nothing you wield can harm me. Yep, that's it. It was good, guys.
Man. Okay.
Go ride with the white one.
Sorry, I got to get all this stuff out of my eyes here real quick.
Getting a little misty up in the windows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
man. But you're right. I didn't think about that. This is funny because this is a dark time of year, right? It's getting darker every single day. I guess it has been since July, but whatever. It's really starting to hit you. Time changes this weekend, so we'll have even less light at night.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does. We fall back up here in the northern hemisphere.
Okay.
And we need a White Rider. We need some light. We need a glimmer of hope. We need to feel like we're not stuck in this quagmire anymore.
Yep.
And this character definitely provides that.
He does.
So you want me to do the summary for this?
Brief summary.
Sure. Brief summary.
Brief summary.
So our hunters, they read some clues. They play Sherlock again. Of course, Aragorn comes out on top because, well, he's just that good of a tracker. And they lead. They're led into Fangorn. They come to Treebeard's Hill. They find some Hobbit footprints, and they meet someone there they do not expect. Kind of a case of mistaken identity, possibly as well. And then, stories are told.
Right.
Pretty much, we sit during this chapter a lot.
Yes, we do.
We sit and we tell the tales, and we hear the stories, and we get a peek inside of one of these characters' minds. And then by the end, we're headed off in a new direction to the halls. Well, I guess really where we were going to return in the first place.
Yes.
Return our horses and go see the King of the Mark.
Right.
So really, really cool. We have some reflections on last chapter,
yes,
which I probably should have read before. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Grace Harvey just finished this episode. The Ents have to be my favorite characters. I love their connection to the earth, no pun intended, and how Tolkien gives life to trees in his books. Also a cool connection to rowan trees symbolize courage, wisdom, and protection.
Wow.
There you go. See, I love this because you guys provide us with stuff that, would have taken us years to figure out. That's awesome, Grace.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then Stefan Glockner, love Treebeard. It keeps me in mind of the energy of old-growth forests around the world. There are some here in Australia, especially Tasmania. Didn't even think about that. There would be. Where there are truly ancient trees. Tolkien draws wonderful images in his books, and his love for nature as opposed to the machine, becomes more obvious. The whole story of the Entwives is truly sad and beautiful. Excellent thoughts from Stefan there.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, man.
All right, here we go.
Shall we embark?
We shall.
All right. You get as lost as you want, too. It's all right. We're in a
Well, I kind of just want to skip to the best parts. So it's like,
Well, we can breeze through some of this early stuff.
I think maybe we will, just because,
Gimli's acting like a bird, flapping around, stamping his feet.
I didn't actually quite get that until you
I
mentioned it.
imagine him just looking like a penguin.
Yeah.
You know?
But he's chilly.
Cold.
He's cold.
Cold morning.
And so he's, but they had just woken up, and last night, actually, the last time we had left them, I think it's important to reflect on, they had seen, Gimli had seen
2
a
chapters
figure.
ago.
Yeah. Had seen someone
Yes.
who looked like what he thought was Saruman.
It's got chills, bro.
Yeah.
The way you deliver that, I just got chills.
Well,
because it puts me right back in that moment.
Yeah.
And imagine just sitting at that fire.
I know.
Right? And this doesn't happen very much. I mean, there's a lot of magical things that go on.
Yeah.
But not very often are we surprised like this.
Yes.
And then just left in utter confusion.
I know. And that's where we were.
Where a figure shows up, and then our horses are gone, too.
Yes. What's also kind of intense about that, knowing what we know here, is how close these two figures were to each other in those woods.
Yeah.
You talk about
it is.
a throwdown.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
And not knowing. Not knowing.
Yeah, exactly. Just great powers at work. So anyways, they had lost... In the night, they start to kind of talk about how the horses had left them.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a riddle, though.
Yes.
Was it not? I mean, that was sort of the thing, is that Legolas
is able to kind of read their whinnies in a way, and their horse language, right? He says, I heard them clearly, but for the darkness and our own fear, I should have guessed that they were beasts wild with some sudden gladness. They spoke as horses will when they meet a friend that they have long missed.
Right.
There's a clue there.
Yep.
Right? We're thinking like, okay, interesting. So we thought that this figure, or and I'm reading it through this moment. I'm thinking that figure who showed up at the fire, right?
Sure.
And that's not even who it really is.
That's right.
But yeah.
Well, and then we even get thrown another curveball at the very, very end.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like it's not necessarily the friend who we think that it is.
Right.
It's someone else more near and dear to them.
Yes, exactly.
Which is cool.
Yeah, pretty cool.
So, now they were looking for the tracks, right? And,
Yep.
and another one of these riddles is that there's this heavy. Gimli says, don't forget the old man, as we said.
Yes.
But they're looking at the boot marks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what's it say here? Maybe, said the elf, but a heavy boot might leave no print here, and the grass is deep and springy. Mm-hmm. And so they're looking for those tracks.
Yes.
And they don't see any, correct? I mean,
right.
It's difficult to kind of see. They're still tracking the hobbits, but again, around about where that old man was, they're expecting to see some tracks, and they don't see any.
And they don't.
Which is...
It's kind of baffling.
Right, even spookier, I think.
Yes, it is.
So...
Was it a ghost? Was it a phantom?
Right, what was it? Yeah. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it there in the beginning of that. So for some time, the companions crawled and groped upon the ground. So this is where we start to move. So they decide to move into the forest.
Yep.
And actually, let me see here real quick. There was... to find the hobbits is our errand.
Yeah.
Whatever we may think of our visitor in the night, if they escaped by some chance, then they must have hidden in the trees, or they would have been seen.
Yeah.
So I think at one point they even if it means starving, they talk about
they don't have a lot of provisions.
Right.
Gimli's saying, we may only find them just to sit down and die with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And Aragorn, this line, gosh, dude, he says, if that's all we can provide, then we have to do it.
Exactly. Yep.
How amazing is that? Like, what a leader.
Yeah, they're giving all. I mean, they're giving everything they have.
Right. They come across these. Aragorn notices these leaves that are a little different, right?
Yep.
Finds the Maloran leaves of Lorien, the crumbs, and they're able to figure out, okay, they stopped here and had lembas bread. Finds the cords cut. They're able to cut their cords, and he has indications now that there were 2 hobbits, which gives them a lot of comfort. That it wasn't just, or is that later on?
No, right here.
Okay, that I can't remember.
Well, right now they think it's 1.
Right.
But what I think is cool is because we have this the way this is written, we know already that they were carried, 1 in each arm.
Yep.
But it's not until we get to the point where we see 2 tracks or 2 hobbit footprints, 2 sets,
right?
And one is a little smaller than the other, and I have great hope.
They're kind of afraid that like maybe one got away and the other one didn't.
Exactly, and that's what it seems like.
That would have been sad. Yeah. So,
but there's some. It's almost like a positive tension here because we, the reader, know. We're like, oh, guys, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay in a second. You're going to find out that they're good. So it's actually kind of a neat way. You almost wonder when you're reading this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it just balances that tension of not knowing who that old man is.
Exactly.
We have no idea who that is.
Exactly.
Can you imagine if we didn't know both? I wouldn't want to. I'd be like, I give up.
Right. There's too much.
We're screwed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we have this advantage as the reader because we know that the hobbits are safe.
Yes.
And now we're just watching our characters kind of struggle through that. Yeah. But then we know if they're safe, what is it that they are going to encounter? Yeah. You know, so who is it that they're going to meet? So,
yeah, man.
So we're definitely.
Can you
worried.
imagine reading this for the first time?
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's where, you know, that
crazy
dramatic sort of irony builds. Okay. Oh, so they again, as you said, you know, they see everything's their bonds are cut, all that good stuff here. Let's move on.
They see the orc blood as well, so knowing that the orc, that was their main clue, that the orc had carried them there and then was killed. They have the Lembas. You know, he says, I say he, though I hope and guess both Merry and Pippin were here together. So they find the two Hobbit tracks later on. Right now, they're not really sure if it was just one or the other.
Well, and they keep wondering too, like how they. I think the real riddle here is were their hands cut first, or their
that's right.
So we're just watching them sort of
piece it together.
Like you said, Sherlock Holmes it, man. They're trying to figure out, and Aragorn ends up winning this battle of. Not that it's a battle. What do you call it? Like contest of trying to figure out.
They're all kind of like
the
convening.
riddle.
Yes. Yep. Man, and it's amazing his mastery of
what he sees and what
being
Legolas
able
doesn't
to deduce. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, especially for the vision of an elf, and it just shows that that is why they're rangers. I mean, his ability to be able to do that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's move on here. That's actually pretty good. We're moving through that. Faster than I thought
for
we were,
us, not
which
too
is
bad.
good.
Well, you're ready to get to.
I am, but
the White Rider here.
So here we go. So it was not long before Aragorn found fresh signs. At one point, near the bank of the Entwash, he came upon footprints.
Yeah,
and so here we have these Hobbit prints, but too light for much to be made of them. Yeah. Then again, beneath the bole of the great tree on the very edge of the wood, more prints were discovered. So they're going to continue to kind of follow these.
Yep. But the earth doesn't really help them out, right? It's kind of barren, dry, not good for prints. So.
Yep.
They're doing the best they can, and whenever it doesn't say whenever they stray off, he would lead them back to the Entwash, and they'd be able to find some more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
They use that as sort of a guide because they would have followed
right, and then as they go back down towards the Entwash, there's the tracks are better.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, they make some commentary on the woods themselves.
Yeah,
I thought this was kind of neat. Legolas he says, I do not think the woods. Wow, is that a typo? I do not think the wood feels evil. Wow, yeah. I just can't read. Is that a typo? No, that's that's you not being able to read again. How dare you? How dare you comment on? I was really comment. It was the publisher. I was concerned about, not Tolkien.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever tales you may say. So he says.
Because Gimli had heard, and when he remembers that they were warned against Fangorn. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
He's all spooked out, wigged out.
So they're talking about, he's kind of listening here, peering, into the woods, into the shadows. And he actually says something like, no, it's not evil, or what evil is in it is not far away. I catch only the faintest echoes of dark places where the hearts of the trees are black. There is no malice near us, but there is watchfulness and anger.
So how cool that he can sort of like Google Maps that in his mind.
Yeah.
He has so much awareness of the woods because he is a wood elf. I'm guessing that's one of his powers.
Yep.
Or perceptions or abilities or senses.
Yeah, he's in tune to it.
Yeah, he's able to tell, there is great evil in this forest, but it's not close to us. It's far away. We don't have to worry right here. That the heart of that lies elsewhere.
Right. Yeah, so, and again, remember, Treebeard kind of talked about this as well,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
That there were these places.
So confirming that, yeah. And he also talks about...
patches, almost, these...
Yeah, and he says, Gimli says, I don't... Angry with me, I don't want to harm him. And Legolas says, that is just as well, but nonetheless, it has suffered harm. There is something happening inside or going to happen.
Yeah.
So almost kind of foreseeing... This Entmoot's happening. The Ents are waking up. Do you not feel the tenseness? It takes my breath.
Yeah. I'd like someone to almost do a little research for us and like look at this forest and think about because when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, we learn that Saruman is weaving his way through here, and the orcs are coming through, and these have found their way through, or avoided either the Ents or whoever, you know, and that those crossings or those pathways that they're traveling, that Saruman had found out, that he'd learned from Fangorn, might be what is causing some of
I
those.
like that you just called Treebeard Fangorn too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Might be, something that's causing those trees' hearts to go black.
Sure.
Just the proximity
Yep.
of those creatures coming past. Or, again, is it tainted
influence
from long ago?
Yeah,
Or
it could be either,
you know,
or both.
Right.
Maybe it's boldened by what Saruman is bringing through. Because you'd originally think like, well, orcs are going to stay away from those evil places. No, they probably will venture towards those and make those stronger and support that up against the areas that are still good and angry but not
again.
malice.
And if their hearts are if the hearts of those trees have already turned, then they're not hindering those creatures as much as well. Too.
It's almost like a path through the forest.
It's like a natural.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that, the three hunters kind of plunge into the forest. So they've had their conversation. Gimli's prepared. He's
It says elves are strange folk, yet you comfort me. Talking to Legolas here, we get a little love letter here. He says, "Where you go, I will go."
Oh my gosh,
isn't that amazing?
It is great. It is. It's you comfort me. Is what he says.
Yeah.
So
actually, that's a little nugget from the Book of Ruth. Yeah. Where you go, I will go.
Yeah.
Where you lead, I will follow.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
So kind of interesting companionship there.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. They're moving along here. The floor of the forest was dry and covered with drift, with the drift of leaves. And so it was that he came upon the place where Merry and Pippin had drunk and bathed their feet.
Yeah.
So there it's very plain for him to see two Hobbit footprints.
That's where that's where he deciphers that.
That's where he can kind of figure it out.
And he can see how old. 2 days old.
Yeah, 2 days old. Right.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So and this is where that line is. I'm sorry, I got to read this.
Yeah.
Gimli says, if we do not find them soon, talking about how their provisions are low and Fangorn is vast, we shall be of no use to them except to sit down beside them and show our friendship by starving together. Saying that kind of tongue-in-cheek and like, come on, Aragorn, what are we doing here?
Right.
And he responds with, if that is indeed all we can do, then we must do that. Let us go on. Wow. I mean, just like he's the most faithful...
Yeah.
And a lot of people would say, well, that's the dumbest thing ever. Well, you know what? Yeah. Sometimes being faithful means throwing rationality out the window.
Yeah. Yep.
Like there is no, at some level, there is no rationale in love. It's selfless. It doesn't make any sense. Right? It's not in terms of self-preservation. Because you will lose, you will have pain, and it won't be as easy as just going it alone. And he's proving that here that if all we can do is lay down beside them and die, at least they won't be alone.
Yep.
And they'll know that we tried.
Exactly.
And that might give them some life.
That's powerful. Yeah.
So, love that.
So, do you remember the part last chapter where Pippin and Merry were up on the hill? Like Treebeard's hill?
Clearly, yes.
So that's where, again, they're tracking them. And so this is where they're at again. And it was around about that same time that they saw this gleam of sun.
Yeah.
Sunlight had made the forest look a little better. It was actually just before, and that's what causes Pippin to kind of make the comment that he makes. Yeah. And then Treebeard is,
I like this place.
Yeah,
it's kind of
like, okay, well, I'm not going to squash you now. Like,
you're not little orcs.
Yeah.
So
that same type of thing happens here. It actually says that they came at length to the steep,
and they go up there for the same reason.
Yeah, to take a look,
to get some air and take a look.
There it is,
because they feel stifled and they feel kind of the air is so heavy. Legolas says that that's because of the tenseness. Gimli just says it's because it's an old shabby forest. Right. So difference of perspective there, but interesting.
Yeah.
And then they find Treebeard's tracks, right? The different marks that Aragorn can't read.
Do you know what I just thought? This is going to sound super corny, but if the trees,
I like corn.
If the trees are have this tension going on in their own hearts, and they are holding their breath. And it's if you think of their breath as being something that we would breathe,
wow,
how stuffy that would be.
Shut it down.
Like it goes in the nature of we
breathe from them, they breathe from us.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
I just kind of thought.
Well, there you go, Ezra. That's a home run.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
That makes so much sense.
Could be.
Yeah, they're not letting out. They're holding their breath. That oxygen's not coming out for us.
Yeah.
Wow, dude.
It just seems
deep,
like
bro.
Because you think of tension. You said tension.
Yeah.
Legolas has said it. Treebeard has said it.
Holding
so
their breath.
That's
as
where
if something great is about to happen.
Yeah. Yep. There it is.
Wow.
Oh, I tell you.
So anyway, it comes upon the Treebeard's tracks, right?
Right, and I just noted, like I said, the gleams of sun were striking through the hurrying clouds. And it says the forest now looked less gray and drear.
Yeah.
So to me, I was like, it happens at the same point in time. It's almost like this spot where when people are approaching this, what do you think?
Well, I'm just thinking just the phrase, and I know this might be like digging way too deep and like, come on, Lane, come back to Middle Earth. But less gray.
Okay.
Less gray. And less drear.
Yeah.
The character we're about to meet is far less gray.
Far less gray.
And he brings great hope.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Wow. Wow, okay.
And also the parallels to the sun that keep coming up.
You know what?
Talking about white as the sun, bright as the sun. It looked like sun was in his hands.
Yeah.
The light that emitted from him.
Yep. Dude, you're taking me back to when, like, the first couple chapters of Fellowship, when, like, those lines were hopping off the page. You know what I mean?
I feel rejuvenated. You feel rejuvenated?
I need. It's something. This is it.
I mean, is this in danger of becoming my new favorite book? Maybe. Don't tell anyone I ever said that. It's out there now.
I won't. No. Okay. So yeah, so they kind of say, I am almost sure that the hobbits have been here, but there are other marks, very strange marks, which I do not understand. I wonder if we can see anything from this ledge, which will help us to guess which way they went.
Yeah.
And so it's upon that ledge, where they're we're about to meet someone. Very interesting. So the shelf faced southward and eastward, but only on the east was the view open. There he could see the heads of the trees descending in ranks towards the plain from which they had come.
Yeah.
We have journeyed a long way around, said Legolas. We could have all come here safe together.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we had left the great river on the second or third day. That's something that they're thinking back about, the ways that they could have,
different paths they could have taken. Yeah, we would have been unobstructed. We could have come right here.
Yep.
And then Gimli says, we weren't trying to come here.
Exactly.
And then this is where Legolas sees that yet here we are, and nicely caught in the net.
Yeah, exactly.
Look. And Gimli says, look at what? There in the trees. Where? I have not elf eyes. Hush. Speak more softly. Look, said Legolas, pointing down in the wood, back in the way that they had just come. It is he. Cannot you see him passing from tree to tree? I see now, hissed Gimli. Look, Aragorn, did I not warn you? There's the old man, all in dirty gray rags. That is why I could not see him at first. And then we see him. You want to read this next chapter? Or this next chapter? Jeezy, Lord. Paragraph?
Yeah.
I have the whole thing bracketed because it's good.
Okay. Aragorn looked and beheld a bent figure moving slowly. It was not far away. It looked like an old beggar man, walking wearily, leaning on a rough staff. His head was bowed, and he did not look towards them. In other lands, they would have greeted him with kind words, but now they stood silent, each feeling a strange expectancy. Something was approaching that held a hidden power or menace.
Or both.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's actually what Gandalf mentions later on.
Yeah,
did I just say who it was? I think I did.
I think you did, but
so
it is a reread, so
it's out.
But and also, you're right, because I'm not going to get off track, I promise, but just talking about that or menace, and he does. He talks about what it means to be dangerous.
Yeah.
And how being dangerous isn't a bad thing.
Right.
And I think of, oh my gosh, dude, talk about connection to Narnia.
Okay.
Here you go.
Yeah.
I think about Mr. Beaver talking about Aslan the first time.
Yeah.
And saying he's not safe.
Right.
Of course he isn't safe.
That's right.
But he's good.
And
how we so
I know.
often, like, we make that clean cut between danger is bad, safety is good.
Yeah.
When oftentimes, that's not the reality of the situation.
Right.
Sometimes when you're safe and you shut yourselves off, like the hobbits have in the Shire,
right,
it's not a good thing.
Right.
Like the elves in Lothlorien have done. It's not a good thing. It leaves you isolated. It leaves you alone. It leaves you, unexpected.
Yep.
Right.
Well, I mean, think about the power of the fellowship.
Yeah.
That's the whole I think point behind that group kind of working together and coming from all different lands.
Yeah.
Different skills and what have you. And we got to keep going because there's a bit too where the hobbits play their own role.
Yeah.
In the hearts of all of these characters.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So,
oh my gosh.
Okay. So this bent figure, Gimli, he believes it's Saruman.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want him to speak, or he's gonna put a spell on us. Shoot first, he says, right? And Legolas actually does bend his bow, but it's very slow, very slowly.
And what happens? Some other will
exactly
resisted him.
Yeah.
So here you go. I mean, is that the figure? Is it something far greater? Is it something from okay, so I can't remember Maiar, Valar that are
that are influencing this whole thing.
Thing. The gods
because
are good.
He's connected to that, right? He's very Legolas.
Is it just his own wisdom? Is it something within him?
Yeah. This familiar feeling that maybe he has.
I might know who that is.
And I'll tell you what, Aragorn also goes on to kind of really forget all of that, and then he simply just says it wouldn't be right. Legolas is in the right that we wouldn't before we know.
And isn't that a recurring theme?
Yes. Err on the side of giving people the benefit of the doubt.
The pity of Bilbo
may
rule the fate of many.
Yes, it is. Yep.
Tolkien shows us time and time again, and I often wonder if this is something he just... It could have been something that he learned before and then learned again over and over in war.
Yeah.
Something he just came to, maybe from his religion influencing him, but...
I was just about to say that.
It's always better to wait.
Yeah.
And to hold, we see these characters time and time again in the position to strike first.
Yeah.
And when they don't, it always ends up for the best.
Yep. Here's the thing: is like when you have advantage or you're able to kind of, because they're in a position where they don't really know, and they are kind of like hesitating, right? But that hesitation it's such a gift. It comes from such a good place in your heart.
Yep.
It's there for good reasons.
Yep.
I think a lot of times, whatever that is, like we're cautioned,
yep.
And we're taught to kind of wait, sleep on things, see
patient.
how this goes.
Yep.
I don't know. Just think of it's the idea of, even if this person is something that's bad, evil, etc. Like, we'll deal with that when we're presented with that.
Yep.
But right now, we don't have all the facts. We don't know all that we need to know.
Right.
And we can't we can't loose this arrow without knowing.
If that wouldn't have been followed, and I'm thinking way back when the ring was taken, and Elrond's right there, with the Isildur.
Yep.
And he could have struck him down and thrown the ring in too.
Yep.
But he didn't.
That's right.
And that's an extreme, idea of what we're talking about here too. But none of this would have happened.
Yeah.
The coming together of all these different peoples, the emergence of the hobbits, the great task that Gandalf has been sent back. None of that stuff would have happened.
I know.
None of it would have happened.
Yeah. Yep. You're right. So it may seem like a small thing, but it is sort of like. Here we go. Aragorn says, Legolas is right. We may not shoot an old man so, at unawares and unchallenged. Whatever fear or doubt be on us, watch and wait. Great lesson.
Yeah, it is.
Great lesson, honestly. Sometimes the unknown...
Don't be hasty.
Don't be hasty. I mean, sometimes the unknown, we get so... nerve-wracked, and we have these knee-jerk reactions to things we, and this is, literally parallels what's going on in our world nowadays.
Yep.
And that we respond so quickly to things we don't understand or we don't have a full picture of,
and without thought of how to be taken, or without concern.
Yeah, exactly.
Of what we, the ramifications of what we do or say.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, so neat. At that moment, though, the old man quickened his pace and came up with surprising speed to the foot of the rock wall. Then suddenly he looked up while they stood motionless, looking down. There was no sound.
Can you imagine this?
Yeah.
Doesn't he? He gets compared eventually. I mean, it's a couple paragraphs away, but springing as nimbly as a goat.
Yeah.
I wish they would have shown this a little more in the film.
When he springs up on the rock.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like
he just jumps up.
There's old bent figure, and it just freaks them out.
Right.
Like, whoa.
Well, and also every time he draws himself up to his full height, it's like, whoa. Yeah. There he is. Yeah. Look out, Yeah. Now, this is something you pointed out that I didn't notice. They could not see his face. And there's a good reason they can't see his face.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Because he was hooded And above the hood, he wore a wide-brimmed hat.
Yeah, so are we going to bring that back, as?
I think
we're going to start putting our hoods up and then hats on top?
And then hats. So when I picture Gandalf now, it's sort of like, it's different. I definitely see him in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, so he's got the hat, and I don't know.
That must have been a thing, you know?
Maybe it was. Yeah. So anyways, but his features are kind of shadowed over.
Yeah.
You know, all they could really see was that he had a gray beard. They could see the end of his nose.
Yeah.
You know, and yet it seemed to Aragorn that he caught a gleam, that he caught the gleam of eyes, keen and bright, from within the shadow of the hooded brows. You know, so there's something there, right? And you know, it's actually the old man broke the silence and says, "Well met indeed, my friends." He calls them my friends.
Yeah.
He said this in a soft voice. "I wish to speak with you. Will you come down, or shall I come up?" And he doesn't even wait. He's just on his way up, you know, going to go speak with them. And then, you know, Gimli wants
shoot him.
Yep. You know, now, like, oh my God. I mean, he's just convinced that that this is Saruman.
Yep.
So, and actually, Gandalf later praises Gimli for this. I mean, right now we're kind of dogging him a little bit, saying like, why couldn't you perceive maybe what Legolas and Aragorn were perceiving? But he's been well taught. This is something Gandalf had sort of, you know, to even just to be wary.
Yeah.
Maybe not the strike first situation here, but it's okay that you were, you know, weary of me.
Yeah.
That's something that's been taught. You know, I think he says something like to even consider your own hand.
Yeah.
When looking at mischief and things.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see.
Legolas is disarmed.
Yes.
Bow and arrow fall from his hands.
Yes.
His arms hang loose at his side. And then they all just kind of stand there frozen.
Frozen. Yes.
Yeah. And it makes the point that, you know, the intake of Gimli's breath could be heard as loud as a hiss in the silence.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this is, so he has him where he wants him. He gets up there and he basically says,
"What are you doing here?"
You know, "Well met, I say again." And he asked them, as you said, "And what may you be doing in these parts?"
Yeah.
Mentions an elf, a man, and a dwarf, clad in elvish fashion. No doubt there is a tale.
It's so cool.
There is a tale worth hearing behind it all.
Yeah.
Such things are not often seen here.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Part of me is like this again, guys. This is Gandalf.
Yeah.
Okay. And so part of me has to just, why I want to start talking about this is like, what does he know? It's so interesting because he makes the comment that he knows things far away, broad, far. You know, he can see much further, but he really can't see up close. He doesn't yet even know. I actually think he hesitates to give his own name because he wants to hear what he will be called, because he's been called different things. He's just been sent back. He is not under, you know, his.
And it goes totally against what like hobbits, they named themselves, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about that. Are you given your name, or do you give it to yourself?
Right.
And you're right. Yeah, his name is brought up to him, and it almost jogs his memory.
Yeah.
That's what I was called.
Right. So it just made me think that he's like why is he waiting? Like why doesn't he just answer their question?
Yeah.
It's almost like
it's a lot like Aragorn.
Yeah.
When we meet Strider. Right.
Sure.
He knows information. He knows, you know, who the hobbits are, and has followed them for a long time. And he doesn't come out and say that right away. He wants to see how they're going to react to him in that moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
What are you looking up over there?
Well, I'm just looking up.
I see the flicker under your shadowy brows.
You see that? Okay. So I'm just looking at the Ainur and sort of like, you know, back in the day in his youth, right?
This Gandalf?
Yeah. You know, just the name that he was, you know, given there. Yeah, well, that's what the elves.
That's what the elves.
The elves call him. Okay. Yeah.
And he uses that coming up here.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Exactly. But back in the day, you know, he had a you know, like a different name as when he's, you know, amongst the Ainur. So it's I couldn't even pronounce it. It's Olorian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, which is kind of cool. So it makes sense, I guess, as to where he's been and the transition that he's, you know, undergone.
Yeah.
I guess in coming back. Anyways, all right, let's get back to the text here.
So we're kind of teased here a little bit too, because Aragorn's like, you sound like you know Fangorn well. Is that true? So they're thinking, you know, Saruman would know Fangorn very well.
Yeah.
Not well, said the old man. That would be the study of many lives, but I come here now and again. Might we know your name, and then hear what it is you have to say to us? The morning passes, and we have an errand that will not wait. This is Aragorn talking.
Yeah, but real quick, you had mentioned the whole bit about how well he knows Fangorn, a.k.a. Treebeard.
Yeah, right.
If you, like in the last chapter, we learned how old he is, and we also talked about when the Astari were sent, into this land. And so it's sort of like, although he knows of him, to really tell his whole tale in life and to know him, he knows very little of it. And so would Saruman,
That's true. That's true. Yeah, right? So we don't really have any kind of...
Exactly. So he's being truthful, but he's also like I guess they don't realize either that would be the same answer that both of them would have to give, Saruman and Gandalf.
Well, and when Aragorn is using Fangorn, he's not talking about the person. Or he's not talking about the Ent.
Yeah,
because he doesn't even know that they're real yet. He's just talking about the Forest itself. Man, the layers there, bro.
Actually, very good. Yeah, good
the
point.
Layers there.
Yep.
As for my name, he broke off, laughing long and loudly. Aragorn felt a shudder run through him at the sound, a strange, cold thrill, and yet it was not fear or terror that he felt. Rather, it was like the sudden bite of a keen air or the slap of a cold rain that wakes an uneasy sleeper.
Yeah. Yep.
Here you go. Read this next line, dude. Come on.
My name, said the old man again. Have you not guessed it already? You have heard it before, I think. Yes, you have heard it before, but come now. What of your tale? And again, the three companions stood there silent, and they made no answer. Yeah. He doesn't give his name. And this is what kind of throws me, is that, like, why not, Because later on, once they provide his name, he goes, oh, yeah, you're right. That's, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like he acts like he didn't quite remember it.
Maybe he didn't.
Right, exactly. He's coming back into this form,
Sure.
Yep. And to be reborn, he has to rediscover a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
And he wants to know more about them, actually. And it slowly starts to kind of come back.
Is it really a test, do you think? Or at first, does he not really know?
I really think that he is...
He needs some refreshing. He's rebooted, man.
He needs... he does. It's all still there, but he has to make these connections and stuff. And he'll talk here in a second about what he has learned and had to relearn,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So anyways, he goes on to kind of say here... So there are some who would, begin to doubt whether your errand is fit to tell. Happily, I know something of it. You are tracking the footsteps of two young hobbits, I believe. Yes, hobbits, don't stare as if you've never heard the strange name before. You have, and so have I. And so he goes on to kind of talk about just how, it's no longer an urgent errand.
Yeah.
They're okay.
Yeah.
He turns, and actually when he turns away from them, I think this is awesome. The spell that's on them, this where they can't move and they are also silent. He turns away and he wants to hear more from them, and he beckons them to come, and he turns away and that spell is lifted.
Dropped. Yep.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yep.
Which I think is awesome. And as soon as it is,
Yeah, they go to their weapons.
Right. All of them do.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
It's almost like they've heard or they haven't heard enough, I guess.
Right.
They before or they have heard enough.
Well, because you could take the whole bit about it's not an urgent errand anymore, as in like
I got him. You're screwed.
You're done.
Sorry.
I know you were chasing him, but
he's not giving them warm fuzzies, and that's where the film really nails it. Putting Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen's voices, kind of melting them together, not knowing exactly, So they all draw their weapons. The old man took no notice, but stooped and sat himself on a low, flat stone. Then his gray cloak drew apart, and they saw beyond doubt that he was clothed beneath all in white. Saruman, cried Gimli, and that is the clue that would give it away, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Springing towards him with an axe in hand. Speak. Tell us where you have hidden our friends. What have you done with them? Speak, or I will make a dent in your hat that even a wizard will find it hard to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
And this is where he kind of hops up on that rock, right? And he basically, he's springy, right? He's very springy.
Like you said, grown suddenly tall, towering above them.
Yeah.
Throws his garments away, and this is where Gimli's axe leaped from his grasp and fell ringing onto the ground. The sword of Aragorn, stiff in his motionless hand, blazed with a sudden fire, which is also kind of funny because Anduril is Flame of the West. Mm-hmm. Legolas gave a great shout and shot an arrow high into the air. It vanished in a flash of flame. And again, also, he is the that's one of his powers is fire, right? It's one of Gandalf's powers. So that also is kind of a little hint before he screams, Mithrandir, Mithrandir. That's like Legolas that cries that out, right? He recognizes who this is.
He does. So he shot his arrow, too, high into the air.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't think he shot it at Gandalf, right? I think he realizes it and they're like let's go.
Yeah, maybe he's got it aimed in the last minute. He goes, oh, shoot.
Right, maybe.
Aims it up.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah.
Still, it's it's flashes into flame.
Yeah.
So,
this description, you got to read this description, man. Are you wanting to move along, though?
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. They all gazed at him. His hair was white as snow in the sunshine, and gleaming white was his robe. His eyes under his deep brows were bright, piercing as the rays of the sun. Power was in his hand. Between wonder, joy, and the fear they stood, and found no words to say. At last Aragorn stirred. Gandalf, he cried, beyond all hope, you returned to us in our need. What veil was over my sight? Gandalf. Gimli said nothing, but sank to his knees, shading his eyes. And then this is where Gandalf says, Gandalf. The old man repeated, as if recalling from old memory a long, disused word. Yes, that was the name. I was Gandalf. So I don't believe he could have provided them the name. I think he knew that they were friends and that they knew his name.
So this interaction, what happened had to happen for him to get that name back. Isn't that interesting?
I think he wanted them to. He wanted to see what because he's known maybe by different names, maybe throughout Middle Earth.
He is. So, right.
I don't know. So, anyways, okay.
Yeah.
So he goes on. He basically reassures them here that he stepped down from the rock. He picked up his gray cloak and wrapped it about himself again. And it seemed, it seemed as if the sun had been shining, but now hid in cloud again.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
And again, remember before the way the sun is described is that it was peering through wisp of clouds.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just like a cloud. All of a sudden, it's like it goes from like being kind of rays of sunshine that were peeking through the gray cloak as he was following them in the beginning, and then now once it's off, it's just like pure sunlight, right? And then now it's back to this peeking through again.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
I mean, the sun is even also mirroring that as well, too. Yeah. I feel like.
Yeah, sure. Yep.
So. But he doesn't blame Gimli, though. He actually goes over and kind of talks to him and pats him on the head, and says that he doesn't blame them, that they've done no harm to me. Indeed, my friends, none of you have any weapon that could hurt me. Be merry, we meet again at the turn of the tide. The great storm is coming. The tide has turned.
Wow. And also, so right off the bat, he's talking, and we get this as we go throughout the rest of the chapter, talking in a way that Gandalf the Grey didn't ever really talk.
Sure.
If you think about how he would phrase things, it was always, despair, kind of, fighting a good fight, but ultimately there's not much hope.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
And here he is coming out and saying, hey, turn's about the tide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the quote. That is the quote.
The tide's about to turn.
I like the way you said it first.
Turn's about to tide.
How the turntables, my friend. How the turntables.
Michael Scott, baby. There it is. Just speaking with a lot of confidence right off the bat, maybe that is also sets Gandalf the White apart from Gandalf the Gray.
Yeah, it does.
Right? He's seen a lot more. He's seen, he's had his great test.
He has, and
he's come back.
He's passed it. He's proven, that he stayed, true.
I mean, think about this is dumbing it way down, but think about how you feel before a big exam. I'm not going to pass it, dude. There's no way.
Right.
I'm going to fail this thing. It's going to be awful. And then those times where you do pass it afterwards, you're like, I knew it, man. I knew it. A+, bro. No problem. Right. No sweat.
Yeah.
I feel relaxed. I feel good. Here we go.
Yes.
Let's go get it. Let's go get it.
Oh, man. Okay, so one of the things I was looking at some stuff on Tolkien Gateway is that they kind of claim that, like, he is one of the only Istari to kind of really stay true. Now, there's no comment really about Radagast and what have you, but that basically...
Well, Radagast kind of disappears, doesn't he? So maybe that's a way he doesn't stay true.
Maybe. But Eru kind of sends him back, right, and gives him this power, and he's actually sort of able to use... You remember how, like, when the Istari first came, they weren't able to use all of their powers. They were kind of... They were given orders, right?
Cloaked, sort of.
Yeah, and so him now being one of the 5... Originally, they sent 5.
Yeah.
That power is divided.
Yeah.
Now it is all basically behind Gandalf.
Dang.
Right? And so
That's
so
amazing.
he's allowed to reveal more of his inner strength, I think. What I think
That's
is
amazing.
I think it's really awesome. So
Yeah.
even though that he seldom kind of uses it, he still is essential, and he supports and he opposes Sauron, in all these different ways.
Yeah.
And I actually think that's awesome, is that he's even though he's grown in power, he still uses these tactics to guide and to empower versus use his power.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Which I think is super impressive.
Yeah.
Just,
His
you know what I'm
leadership,
saying?
you're right. He uses it to inspire others,
Yes.
right? And in that way, he increases his own power, right? Or the power that flows through him.
Yep.
Passes it on, pays it forward. Gandalf, paying it forward.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Let's keep going, because this gets even better.
Yep.
He said, "But tell me of
us.
yourselves,"
Yeah.
right? So he wants them to kind of tell their story, because that's what he asked originally. So
Yeah, right.
So back to you guys. What do you wish to know? Aragorn said. "All that has happened since we parted on the bridge would be a long tale, and
He wants to know about
will
the
you
hobbits.
not give us news of the
Yeah.
hobbits first?" Yeah. Gandalf says that he didn't find them.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
There was this
Yeah.
darkness right over the valley that he said, "I did not know of their captivity until the eagle told me." And we had
All this stuff is revealed here.
yeah, Gwahir. We had mentioned
Yep.
the idea. Aragorn had seen
Seen the eagle in the
eagle
distance.
up on
Amon Hen.
Hen. Yeah, and so they had also seen an eagle too as they're traversing Rohan.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So yeah, Gwahir's been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay. And actually, it's interesting too that we find out that Galadriel sent Gwahir
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
To look, because once she received this news, there's time while there in Lothlorien where she, I believe, spoke to Gwahir and sent him to look for Gandalf, because
To retrieve Gandalf.
to retrieve him. Yeah. Which is very impressive.
Crazy, dude. Crazy.
That she would have that kind of sight. Wonder what she saw in just in her own. I don't know.
Yeah. And we also learned too, okay, so we go back to that moment on Amon Hen where Frodo had just gotten away from Boromir and he puts the ring on. And we
Yep.
have that crazy moment where he kind of has this vision. He's on the hill of sight. He sees things that, were probably enhanced by the ring. Looks in all directions and sees the powers at work, and then feels the light of the eye getting ever closer to
Yeah.
him. And at the last second, right?
Yeah.
At the last second, he feels this urge to take the ring off.
Yep.
And we talked about the intensity of that moment when
Yes,
we
we
were
did.
back in there. And we were like, what was that other
What
power?
powers were striving?
Was that within him? Was that something that was given to him from someone else? And we learned here that was Gandalf.
Yeah.
That was Gandalf at work.
Yep.
He talks about how he sat in a high place and he strove with the dark tower and the shadow passed, and how it was very nearly revealed to the enemy.
Yes.
Talks about being weary, very weary, and he continue to walk long in dark thought.
It doesn't actually. So yeah, he walked long in dark thought. Is that after? I believe that's after he's returned, right? Because he's had his fight with the Balrog.
Yes.
Because later on he'll tell us what happens, but I
Right.
believe that all happened, and then because I always think here, well, he strove in this high place,
Right.
And
or was it
then
when he was laying there on the
maybe
at
spirit-wise.
Roxagil? I know. That's
Right.
what I'm trying to figure
So
out.
you could
And
go.
that
I
would
could
make sense
see it
why he
either
could,
way.
and that would make sense why he could come to him in this thought,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it would.
God, but
Well, although because Gwahir will tell us later that he could when he's carrying Gandalf, that he could let go of him
light as a feather,
and he would be fine.
straight up Forrest Gump, dude, just
Yeah.
floating in the air.
I mean, the powers
Oh my gosh.
that Gandalf has now are kind of
it's those air Gandalfs.
intense.
Yeah.
It's those air Gandalfs.
So it's just crazy, like that, because this is stuff that honestly, this is stuff that I had forgotten from my previous rereads.
Oh,
so when
yeah.
I'm reading through the breaking of the Fellowship, and in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, I can't remember exactly what that power was. I can't remember.
Yep.
I know that we're gonna find out eventually, but it's so cool to see that here. Be like, wow. In that moment,
Well, and again,
Gandalf was there, and that explains why
he is the arm, though, that Eru and that the Valar and that they've
Yeah.
sent back. I mean, he is
Yeah.
actually that influence,
Yeah.
that power.
And that makes sense why it came to Frodo from seemingly nowhere.
Yeah.
Right. Frodo was like that eye was going to see him, and it was going to be all over, except for that last moment.
Let me just re-emphasize something here: is that like he himself strove, in a high place, against the Dark Tower,
one tower
himself,
against another,
himself. He strove, and was able to, possibly redirect his attention and save. He says, he says, I cannot say he was saved from a great peril, but many lie before him still. He resolved to go alone to Mordor, and he set out. That is all I can say. But it's just like he knew very well what was going on. He actually they don't need he does not need them to tell
in on that.
No,
right?
Which tells you that he was involved. So that he was very much.
Because we think, it's just amazing how we think he's gone, but that whole time his presence is there.
And this is
crazy.
Why this is that line that I couldn't help myself, back when we were on, Amon Hen, and I couldn't help but to flash forward here and kind of look and see what that power was. So, anyways.
And then this is here where the three hunters, inform him of some information. Right? They say, Legolas says, not alone. We think that Sam went with him. Did he? Said Gandalf. And there was a gleam in his eye and a smile on his face. Did he indeed?
Wow.
It is news to me, yet it does not surprise me. Good. Very good.
Yeah.
You lighten my heart. You must tell me no more. Or, I'm sorry, you must tell me more. Now sit by me and tell me the tale of your journey.
I just think it's so awesome that, like, whatever that urge was that he had, or sometimes he doesn't always... It's sort of a follow your heart, follow your gut, type of thing when you get those urges to do something good, and you really don't see any outcome. You don't really see any long-lasting...
No idea what's going to happen.
Exactly. Sure. But, like, really, it came back to that. Like, it's come full circle. So Sam went with him, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Interesting. Because Sam almost wasn't someone who would have been on this journey.
I know, dude.
And interesting.
Unbelievable. Wow.
So, okay. Now, so as Aragorn is telling the story, I love this part that, like, he speaks of Boromir's death, and Gandalf is so wise. He saw that moment that Frodo was going through, and when he sat in that high place, he noticed that he knew what was going on with Boromir.
Yeah.
And I almost think he sort of applauds Aragorn. You know more than you've revealed, but that's okay.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, he does.
And because he knows it as well, and it doesn't need to be spoken. It's sort of like something that they understand. And so, what's he say here? Poor Boromir. Yep. I could not see what happened to him. It was a sore trial for such a man, a warrior, a lord of men. Galadriel told me that he was in peril, right? But he escaped in the end. I am glad. Man, and so what's also crazy here, my friend, is that when I read that and I think, Galadriel told, at what point, again, I go back and try to timeline it, at what point was he back in his, like, reincarnated in this body and striving in a high place?
Right.
And did that again, is because he's so freshly new there. Like, is he doing things out of his mind that he didn't even really know
doesn't
what he's
Gwaihir
doing?
Take him to Lothlorien, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking of the timeline. When is he striving with that power? Because if he comes here to Galadriel says that Boromir is in peril.
Yeah.
And so he's not.
Well, and she knew it from when he went through Lothlorien.
Exactly.
The eternal peril, right?
Exactly.
And that's what. It's funny because he's saying here, he escaped in the end.
Yeah.
And we're thinking like, well, he was killed, right? But he overcame that temptation. He didn't end up taking the ring. Whether it was because. Well, mostly it's because Frodo did a good job of escaping, but he still didn't succumb to that temptation. He repented, and then he tried to save the hobbits afterwards. He kind of came to his senses. And so that is the escape. The escape doesn't mean you get out with your life. It means you save your soul.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's what Gandalf is talking about. And especially now, what he's been through, that's his focus. His focus is, well, it always was, but just that, the intangible good.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me read something here, too, because I think this is really, really good. It says, no, it was not in vain that the young hobbits came with us, if only for Boromir's sake.
They saved him.
They saved him. So I think, even when he comes back to the camp and he's talking to people, he's still kind of lost a little bit. But then he has this one last act. And that's what they show in the film. We don't really see it in the book. But it's great. The reason that they have that interpretation is this line right here.
Yeah.
And it's not just when they say the young hobbits, they're talking about. They can only be talking about because Frodo is older. You know, they're talking about Merry and Pippin.
Yep.
Yeah, you could have said Sam, but it's Merry and Pippin.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So it's not in vain that they came with us, if only for Boromir's sake. But that is not the only part they have to play.
Yeah.
So it's just
crazy.
It's awesome.
Crazy.
It's awesome.
I think the other part they have to play is starting a Lord of the Rings podcast. Maybe.
Oh, do
maybe
they?
They're co-hosts.
Man.
They kind of start their
Actually,
own,
who was it the other day
thing.
in the group that shared that one?
It
was the meme or whatever. It was talking about. I think it's time.
Yeah, it
Time
was
for
awesome.
What, Mr. Frodo?
Yeah, starting a Lord of the Rings podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to get the name right. You got any ideas there, bud?
Yeah, and I don't think. Yeah, exactly. You might want to. You might improv some of these, my good friend.
Improv.
Improv it. The Slimy Belrog podcast.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah, sort of a different form he took on, like a dead match. The Hood and Hat podcast. Hood and Hat. What's wrong with that? Ez?
Right. Nothing.
I don't know how that would work on screen, but it works in the book, I guess. So, got anything else?
Yeah. Let's think here. Let me think real fast. Like maybe, Flying with Gwahir. I don't know.
Wow, I like that one.
It's
you know, I've always thought Gandalf kind of looked like when he came back as Gandalf the White, like he was wearing some Nike boots. So I'm gonna say the Air Gandalf podcast.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it, Mr. Frodo. Destroy it. Just do it. Yeah. I don't know.
We're getting close. I love that we
closer every single
actually
time.
Improv those last two though.
We did.
That was,
and that's how it all began, my friend.
Fantastic.
A long, long time ago.
Yeah.
In the galaxy not so far away.
Oh,
oh, beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right. Well, that's it, guys. Have a good one.
There she is.
Been nice talking. We'll see you in a fortnight.
All right. Here we go.
Where were we actually?
We're talking
the young hobbits.
The young hobbits, right? Now he says.
Did you hear that?
What was that?
I just did some sniffing. Don't forget it.
Lane still has a cold, guys.
Sorry, guys. I'm trying to move the mic away every time I do this.
One thing you have not changed in Dear Friend. He's talking about Gandalf speaking in riddles and talking to himself, right? And it's because he brings up, the idea of them being brought to Fangorn and being small stones that have started an avalanche. Even as they talk here, the first rumbling, Saruman had best not be caught away from home when the dam burst. So he's speaking in these riddles, and Aragorn's like, well, and that you've not changed. Like, that's something, Gandalf the Grey used to do.
Yep.
And so what have you. Now, actually, he makes a really cool quote here. Let's see. What? In riddles, said Gandalf? No. For I was talking aloud to myself, a habit of the old.
Yeah.
They choose the wisest person present to speak to.
Myself.
Yeah, exactly. The long explanations needed by the young are wearying. And so, Aragorn tries to say, by my own people, I mean, I'm considered,
pretty old myself,
right?
my friend. And then he, it's cool. Tolkien compares the laughter of Gandalf to warm and kindly as a gleam of sunshine.
Yeah.
And then I've got the next 3 paragraphs bracketed as because it's a look into Gandalf's mind.
Okay.
This is where we see, I said, I kind of made a little note in my margin. I said, Gandalf has been leveled up.
Yes.
Right? He's gone through his test. And where once he was a little more unsure, now he's, like you said before, he's able to see these things far off.
Yeah.
He doesn't know exactly how they're going to come to be, but he knows certain things are going to happen.
Yes, a great insight into the Dark Lord's mind.
Yes, he does.
And I think it's just unbelievable, the wisdom that he has. We
thought it was great before.
See, here's the thing. What's so beautiful about this? It's not that raw power. Seeing him, with his staff doing all these spells and magic and all this sort of stuff. It is actually right here in this paragraph where he shows his true power.
Yeah.
And that's something every one of us can sort of take and it's that perception, the wisdom that you can have, being patient, not hasty, looking at things, seeing things afar. I don't know. It's amazing. So let's dive into it here a little bit. So, what then shall I say? This in brief, I see. I see things at the moment, right? Okay.
I love how he says "at the moment" too.
Yeah.
Implying that these things can change. These things can be influenced.
Right, exactly.
Kind of cool.
He starts to talk about the enemy, and how it's long known that the ring is abroad, and that it is born by a hobbit. He knows the number of the company that we set out from Rivendell.
Yep.
He knows each kind of us, but he has not yet perceived our purpose clearly.
Yeah.
And really, he knows that because if he had, he would keep every orc he could
in Mordor.
Yep.
And just
he
wait
would
for
pursue
them to
the
come
ring.
there. Yep.
Exactly. And so that kind of shows him. So what does he say? He even, I don't know where it's at exactly, but he says that even that the idea would not, he thinks we're going to take the ring to Minas Tirith. Yeah. And that a great warrior and a power will rise. He's looking for someone.
Right. He's looking for an Isildur. He thinks Isildur is going to come back, right?
Right, and wield that ring against him.
And Aragorn's not that kind of guy.
Right.
And that's where he's using the past to influence his vision of what's going to come, and he's dead wrong.
He's a wise fool.
Yeah.
As Gandalf calls him.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. And then indeed, let's see.
Talks about he's in great fear as well.
Who? Sauron?
Sauron, not knowing what mighty one might suddenly appear wielding the ring, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's cool to know that your enemy's afraid. I mean, that's cool. I don't think we've thought of him in that way yet.
And he says there's hope in that because that actually is where they want his attention and focus.
Yeah.
Because now it is much easier for Frodo, to get into the land of Mordor and do what he needs to do. And so their task now almost becomes to keep the attention, of the Great Eye on themselves.
Yep.
And that it's probably fixed on. I mean, I'm sure he's learning, who these individuals are in the company. He obviously perceived that they were headed towards Minas Tirith, and that was their other option.
Yeah, they were right. And that's what they debated long and hard about that. And that, if you go back, that was one of Aragorn's, that was one of his decisions. Which way do we all go? How do we handle this? And then for the wisdom that he had to defer to the Hobbit, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To say it's Frodo's decision, it's Frodo's quest. And then, thinking how everything had gone awry when the Fellowship broke. And then seeing here, right, this has got to feel good for Aragorn. And Gandalf even says it, you thought that your decisions were in vain. You thought that you messed up. You thought that you'd failed. Take comfort.
Yeah.
You did the right thing. You made the right decision. You made decisions and handled the situation in a way that no one else could have, Aragorn.
Yeah. Yep. Right, exactly. And so this next paragraph, though, what I think is interesting, too, is he brings in, this is the Two Towers, right?
Yep.
And he brings in Saruman and his influence, and how unexpectedly, it has disrupted, Sauron and his messengers or his
they're divided.
Right.
Which is what we saw in that Uruk-hai party.
Exactly. Well, and even think about as they were, when you're there, when the ring is up on Amen-Hen and they're at this point where they're deciding what to do.
Yep.
They were under assault from Mordor, right? They were, but they're also there are members from Isengard there as well on both sides of the river. Because,
That's right. Yes.
Because he says that they
East
were
and the
not
West.
allowed to. They hadn't been given the clearance to cross the Great River.
Right.
So the Nazgul could not cross, and so Legolas goes on to mention that he fell. He thought that whatever that creature, that beast was.
Yep.
That he brought it down, and Gandalf says, that cannot be brought down by any.
Yeah, the rider's still fine.
Right.
Yep. He'll get another beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I don't know, really kind of cool stuff just to see Gandalf sort of lay all this out. This is what's in his mind, and he goes on to say, nothing that we have endured of late has seemed so grievous as the treason of Isengard. Even reckoned as a lord and captain, Saruman has grown very strong. He threatens the men of Rohan and draws off their help from Minas Tirith, even as the main blow is approaching from the east. So again, Gandalf how does he know all this? He's been up with Gwahir, he's been flying around, but he also can see, I think, afar, and has his perception.
I think also probably knowledge from Galadriel too, right?
Yes.
I would think, like meeting with her and talking to her.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're right, just that, and I mean, he's the man. He's the man. He did his scouting too. Remember when he disappeared and was gone? He went to Rohan. He showed up as a beggar. He was in Minas Tirith. He's been getting a pulse for the entire situation for years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and he talks about this unexpectedness of like all of that influence by Saruman has actually brought Merry and Pippin into this place where
perfectly timed where they're going to
these
awake
small
the,
stones are causing a lot of I don't know this energy, this new life in. Well, yeah, they're waking up. The Ents are waking up. So.
Yeah, and really, he's creating his own enemy through bringing the hobbits to Isengard. There you go. We said it. I do have a question too. Where does he say that it's Saruman's desire for the ring? Are we not there yet?
Yeah, right here. So
okay, which is also something they haven't really, like that he wants to take it to use it.
Exactly. He kind of says that the victor would emerge. So he's talking about Isengard cannot fight Mordor outright,
right? Because
Saruman must first obtain the ring,
right?
And
Gimli kind of says, "Go for it," right?
Right. Yeah, but he'll never do that. Now because of what has happened, all that has transpired, Frodo is beyond his reach,
right?
Actually, which is a good thing.
Yes,
gives them hope.
Right.
But he's still. He can still cause a lot of problems. And he could still really do a lot of damage. So, and
Gimli says, "Well, that'd be easier. They could fight each other, and we would sit and wait." And like you said, it's Gandalf who says, "No, the victor would emerge stronger than either."
Yeah,
that would not be a good situation.
Yep. So, and he also mentions that actually Saruman leaving his own place and kind of coming and looking for to catch up on some of his. The orcs, the orc party, and trying to get news of this is also a mistake too. And that he should have stayed.
Shouldn't have left home.
In Isengard. Hold up there. So I don't know.
Yeah, there's a flood coming.
Yeah. All right. We already mentioned the Nazgul there. I think just he talks about, they go back and kind of explain what that was.
Yeah.
So.
And talks about that the riders were ring wraiths, which is something we were unsure of before, right?
Yep.
That they now ride upon winged steeds. Soon their terror will overshadow the last armies of our friends, cutting off the sun. But they have not yet been allowed to cross the river, like you talked about, and Saruman does not know of this new shape in which the ringwraiths have been clad. His thought is ever on the ring. Was it present in the battle? Was it found? What if Theoden, Lord of the Mark, should come by it and learn of its power?
Right.
That is the danger that he sees, and he has fled back to Isengard to double and treble his assault on Rohan.
Yeah.
Right. But he has forgotten Treebeard.
Well, and this is what I was trying to talk about earlier, and I just mixed them up here. But this is where Aragorn is saying you're speaking to yourself again. These riddles are coming back. Who is Treebeard? And so they go on and they talk about the legend of the Ents a little bit, and just sort of Fangorn and the nature of this forest.
Yeah.
So I think it's also interesting that. Well, never mind. We'll keep going here.
So he details Treebeard, and then he talks about Gandalf about that the hobbits are with Treebeard and the Ents, and and that's where Aragorn says the Ents,
right?
Then there's truth to the old legends about the dwellers in the deep forest and the giant shepherds of the trees. Are there still Ents in this world? I thought they were only a memory of ancient days, if indeed they were ever more than a legend of Rohan.
Yep.
And so we're thinking it's just like kind of a legend localized to the people of Rohan, that region. And then Legolas speaks up and says, no, every elf in Wilderland has sung songs of the old Onodrim and their song of, their long sorrow. We know of them even afar, right?
Yeah.
And he talks about, if I were to talks about meeting Treebeard, he would feel young.
Yeah.
Right.
What I think is interesting, because I always kind of thought, again, that the Ents came a little bit later, in development. Someone can totally correct me, because I actually don't really know a whole lot about it, but there's a line here. Treebeard is Fangorn, the guardian of the forest. He is the oldest of the Ents, which we know.
Yep.
The oldest living thing that still walks beneath the sun. So, to me, I guess what that means is other things may have been older, but they've gone.
Yeah.
They've been killed. There was a great war,
right?
With a lot of these elf lords that they fought against the first Dark Lord.
They've left, right?
Or they've left, or whatever. Yeah. So maybe that's
crazy.
A bit of it. So they're talking specifically about Middle Earth.
Yeah.
Which you got to remember as well. So
yeah, that's true.
All right. So that's pretty awesome. So now,
Gandalf talks about seeing him real quick, and then that, that he saw Treebeard, and he thinks Treebeard saw him, but they didn't really say anything to each other.
Wait, really?
And he wasn't sure if maybe he thought he was Saruman.
Really? Wow, I missed that. I missed that.
I saw him 4 days ago striding among the trees, and I think he saw me, for he paused. But I did not speak, for I was heavy with thought and weary after my struggle with the Eye of Mordor. And he did not speak either, nor call my name. Perhaps he thought you were Saruman,
Right.
Said Gimli. But you speak of him as if he was a friend. I thought Fangorn was dangerous.
Right.
Dangerous,
yeah,
cried Gandalf. And so am I. Very dangerous. More dangerous than anything you will ever meet unless you are brought alive before the seat of the Dark Lord. Yeah. And Aragorn is dangerous, and Legolas is dangerous. You are beset with dangers, Gimli, son of Glowing, for you are dangerous yourself in your own fashion. God, dude, talk about getting you pumped up.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, wouldn't you just feel like 1,000 feet tall?
Real quick, can I say something? So more dangerous than anything you will ever meet unless you're brought before the seat of the Dark Lord. So and I even would say he could strive with
well, maybe he's talking about Morgoth.
Maybe he is. Sauron. Maybe he is. But still, I kind of think it's like he even is putting himself above like Witch King.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Bring it on, baby.
At least right now.
I'm Glandorf the Whip.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So.
Yeah, then he just goes on. There's a lot of details there, but
he basically talks about the Ents waking up and not really knowing what they're going to do. He says, "I don't
find that they're strong."
Right, and he says, "I don't think that they know what they're going to do themselves."
Right.
And
they're not hasty.
Right, and he's in deep thought there. Yeah. So,
isn't it cool too how there was a few pages back, but when they first sit down, I just imagine like like a Zen master. For a long while, Gandalf said nothing, and he was asked no questions. His hands were spread upon his knees, and his eyes were closed. Just envisioning him sitting there.
Yep. Taking it in.
It's just really, really cool. And I love it's either the end of this chapter. I think it's next chapter. So here you go. Me actually looking ahead for once instead of keeping my head in the sand. We see him at night not sleeping and constantly looking north, south, east, and west. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
What did you find there, Blood? Heard you go.
Well, so it's just Gandalf again talking, about the road that the hobbits must take. It's not the road that they must take. I have spoken words of hope, but only of hope. Hope is not victory. War is upon us and all our friends. A war in which only the use of the ring could give us surety of victory.
Man.
It fills me with great sorrow and great fear, for much shall be destroyed, and all may be lost. I am Gandalf, Gandalf the White, but black is mightier still. It's like, man.
It sounds like the old Gandalf, doesn't it? A little bit.
Yeah, it's like
a little bit. That he's pumping you. He's bringing good news, but he's trying to say that game's not over yet, guys.
That's right.
Right. I think also interesting too how I'm trying to find that line. I'm trying to find what you just read because.
Okay, let me read it to you again real quick because he goes on to he says that war is upon us and all of our friends. A war in which only the use of the ring could give us surety of victory.
Which I was going to key in on that line.
That's what I thought you were, because
destroying the ring is using it. They're using it. Frodo is like not use. It's a funny play on.
You could go either way.
Right, we're using it as a weapon by destroying it.
We're detonating something.
And is that what he means in some respect?
It could go either way, but what I also think here is that he's kind of talking about actually using it.
Right.
That would be the way to actually outright stand toe to toe and beat him. Like without the ring, we really can't probably win this. It's going to be very tough.
Right.
Because then he goes on to say, he rose and gazed out eastward, shading his eyes as if he saw things far away that none of them could see. Then he shook his head. No, he said in a soft voice, it has gone beyond our reach. Of that at least, let us be glad. Yeah. We can no longer be tempted to use the ring. We must go down to face a peril near despair. Yet that deadly peril is removed.
The ring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Facing a deadly peril. It's just there's so much going on. There's just so many levels to the way he speaks.
Yeah. Yep. I know. Oh boy. So now he turns then to Aragorn and really calls upon him to, be who you are.
Yeah.
Be this
and this is
king.
where he confirms those decisions he made on Emyn Muil in the valley, obviously of the river. Do not regret your choice in the valley of the Emyn Muil, nor call it a vain pursuit. You chose amid doubts the path that seemed right. The choice was just, and it has been rewarded. For so we have met in time, who otherwise might have for so we have met in time, who otherwise we may have met too late. Again, going back to like meetings they were supposed to have before, right? Thinking about how the hobbits were supposed to meet Gandalf.
Yep.
Right? They were supposed to leave at a certain time. Gandalf was supposed to come back.
Yep.
And they were supposed to leave at a certain time. Had they not done that, or had they met in that way, timing with Aragorn would have been off. They never would have met Tom. All this different stuff would have been thrown off. So he's like, just a reassuring him here. Your next journey is marked by your given word. You must go to Edoras and seek out Theoden in his hall. You got to return your horses.
Yeah.
For you are needed. The light of Andúril must now be uncovered in the battle for which it has so long waited. It's funny to think about a sword like waiting for something too, like almost having a human.
Yeah.
There is a war in Rohan and worse evil. It goes ill with Theoden. So a new vision here, knowing that Theoden's in a bad place. We've got hints of that from Éomer, right? That Rohan's not sitting as peachy as it used to. So that's where Aragorn's needed, the power of his sword. Wow.
Yeah. It's a nice little image here too of like Gandalf sort of, as he's speaking to him, Aragorn rises and he's looking at Gandalf, and the others gazed at him in silence.
I got that underlined too.
Yeah, and as they stood there facing one another, this gray figure of a man, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, thank you, was tall and stern as stone, his hand upon the hilt of his sword. He looked as if some king out of the mist of the sea had stepped upon the shores of lesser men. Before him stooped the old figure, white, shining now as if some light kindled within, bent, laden with years, but holding a power beyond the strength of kings.
Talking about, making that allusion to the Númenóreans rising out of the sea, coming from the sea.
Yeah.
Right? A light being kindled, and that being one of Gandalf's powers, fire, wielder of the Flame of Anor.
Yeah. Yep.
Jeez. Worthy of song someday. Worthy of
it's just a
remembrance.
cool little image to see those two powerful figures kind of standing there, right? And I love what Aragorn actually says. Do I not say truly, Gandalf, that that you could go, wherever you wished, quicker than I. And this I also say, you are our captain and our banner. The Dark Lord has 9, but we have 1, mightier than they, the White Rider.
Jeez.
Yeah. He has passed through the fire and the abyss, and they shall fear him. We will go where he leads.
Wow.
That's one of my favorite. I love that. Just that, man, I don't know. And I don't know if Gandalf even says anything back to that. He really doesn't. Legolas just kind of also confirms it. Yep. And then he just says, we've tarried here too long.
Let's get going. Got stuff to do.
Thanks for pumping me up, guys.
Yeah.
And
then Gimli, of course, wants to know about the Balrog. Gandalf says, name him not. So now we get into this whole telling of what happened. Right? Yep. We've been wanting to know, Gandalf, what happened to you. We've told you what happened our way. We've even heard of how you've had influence over what we've been doing.
Yep.
The power of good. And so now we want to know, how'd it go with you? And it's amazing how it's, again, just comparing him to the sun, talking about it seemed that a cloud of pain passed over his face.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He sat silent, looking old as death. So the memory of this, we talked about that too before. We talked about how visually, Frodo had changed after he was stabbed by the Morgul blade. There are times in the story where just naming an event, a painful event from the past, shows physically on someone. And we know what that. I mean, he's being dramatic here too. Obviously, he's making a comparison, but we know what that's like. Yep. We bring up something to someone that is very painful. Maybe not even intentionally sometimes, and we see how their whole countenance changes.
Yeah.
Right? How they're almost taken back to that moment. Well, this is a moment where Gandalf, he won, but he died in the end.
Yeah.
Right? His life force was given up.
Yep.
It took all of his strength. And so that memory coming back, he looks old as death.
Yep, exactly.
And I love how he tells it, too. Isn't it awesome how he tells it?
Yeah, well, he just kind of explains, what had happened to him, to himself. And he says that, long time I fell, he said at last, slowly, as if thinking back with difficulty. Long I fell, and he fell with me. His fire was about me. I was burned. Then we plunged into the deep water, and all was dark. Cold it was as the tide of death. Almost it froze my heart.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah.
And that's something you don't even think about. Like, I watch you watch the opening of the Two Towers and you see it and you're like, of course, like Gandalf would be burned up.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. So yeah. Anyways, he talks about this abyss and eventually lets them know that it does have a bottom beyond light and knowledge.
Doesn't even want to talk about it.
Yeah. Eventually, I came at last to the uttermost foundation of stone. So he is like deep in Arda. He's like way, down there, man.
Yeah.
He was with me still. His fire was quenched, but now he was a thing of slime, stronger than a strangling snake.
Here's a cool little tidbit. They actually storyboarded the Balrog in that form for the film.
Oh, really?
And they had concepts of filming like an extended scene where you saw him as this slime monster.
Wow.
And they just thought in the end it was I don't know why they abandoned it, but it would have been, how cool would that have been to see?
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But we get to imagine it now, so that's pretty cool. It talks about fighting under the living earth where time is not counted. Ever he clutched me and ever I hewed him till at last he fled into dark tunnels that were not made by Durin's folk. Gimli, son of Glowing, far, far below the deepest delvings of the dwarves, the world is gnawed by nameless things.
Yep.
Even Sauron knows them not. They are older than he. Now I have walked there, but I will bring no report to darken the light of day. Here you go. Talking about. So that's kind of crazy, right? Before there are things you should save for the day to talk about. He says, I won't even talk about that here.
Yeah.
Middle of day, I'm not even going to talk about it.
Right.
In that despair, my enemy was my only hope, and I pursued him, clutching to his heel. Thus he brought me back at last to the secret ways of Khazad-dûm. Too well he knew them all. Ever up now he went until we came to the endless stair. And Gimli says, that's been lost or destroyed.
Yeah.
And Gandalf says, it was made and it has not been destroyed because I've been there. And I climbed it to the pinnacle of the Silvertine, the living rock of Zarak Zagil. And upon Celebdil was a lonely window in the snow. And before it lay a narrow space, a dizzying eyrie above the mists of the world. The sun shone fiercely there, but all below was wrapped in clouds. So that you can just imagine
above the clouds, man.
Yeah. And we see that a little bit. We see him, fighting in the film, and it's this island of a tower that's like an island surrounded by cloud. So high up above it was. There was none to see, or perhaps he bursts into flame again. Right. The Balrog is like a match, is lit again.
Back. Yep.
There was none to see, or perhaps in after ages songs would still be sung of the battle of the Peak.
Right, it's unfortunate, isn't it? That like people didn't see this because it's something that would, they would sing about.
Yeah,
because it was such an epic battle.
Yeah, and he laughs, but what would they say? Those that looked up from afar thought the mountains were crowned by was crowned by a storm. Thunder they heard, and lightning, they said, smote upon Celebdil and leaped back broken into tongues of fire. Is not that enough? A great smoke rose about us, vapor and steam. Ice fell like rain. I threw down my enemy and fell from the high place and broke the mountainside where he smote it in his ruin. Then darkness took me, and I strayed out of thought and time, and I wandered far on roads that I will not tell.
Man, it's just like, what? I mean, so like looking up, we would see lightning and thunder and those things. We would see this vapor cloud.
Wouldn't even do it justice what was going on.
Right, and he doesn't even tell us what actually happens.
Yeah.
Was he calling down lightning? Was he, but it was cracks of thunder. Was that just his power versus the Balrog's power?
Yeah.
Like, what was it? What does it look? It's almost one of those things that like Tolkien keeps kind of hidden.
Yep.
And let especially when it comes to magic and the way those things could be seen, or felt or whatever. He leaves a lot of that up to your own
makes
imagination.
It more magical.
Yeah, it does actually.
I don't want to know the reasons. Just let me see it. Let me see it. Right.
So I can imagine just an epic battle, something that they would sing about.
Yeah.
And again, when they're down in deep in the earth, right? It's sort of beyond time. How long was this? Again, so they're outside of time. Almost like having this battle. And then it rages on, and then they come back into time, and they climb the endless stair.
From hell to the heavens.
It's crazy, isn't it? Just absolutely crazy.
It really is, dude.
So,
and then he talks about being sent back. He was naked, as you're born, when you're born, you come out naked, right? He's reborn. He comes back naked.
Yep.
For a brief time until my task is done, I come back. And naked I lay upon the mountaintop. It'd be pretty chilly, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The tower behind was crumbled into dust, the window gone. The ruined stair was choked with burned and broken stone. I was alone, forgotten, without escape upon the hard horn of the world. There I lay, staring upward, while the stars wheeled overhead, and each day was as long as a life age of the earth. Faint to my ears came the gathered rumors of all lands. The springing and the dying, the song and the weeping, and the slow everlasting groan of overburdened stone. And so at the last, Gwaihir the Wind Lord found me again, and he took me up and bore me away. So there we go. Talking about that omniscience that maybe he has now. He was all that knowledge was brought to him.
Underestimate those lines. So don't overlook those lines, I should say. So faint to my ears came the gathering rumor of all lands.
Jeez, dude.
The springing and the dying, the song and the weeping. Wow. It's awesome. This everlasting groan of overburdened stone. It's just.
And I'm going to keep reading this so you can react. Because this is this is your dude here. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Ever am I fated to be your burden, friend at need, I said to Gwaihir. A burden you have been, he answered, but not so now. Light as a swan's feather in my claw you are. The sun shines through you. What? Indeed, I do not think you need me anymore. Were I to let you fall, you would float upon the wind. Do not let me fall, I gasped, for I felt life in me again. Bear me to Lothlorien. That indeed is the command of the Lady Galadriel, who sent me to look for you, he answered. Interesting that he wanted to go there. And that's exactly where he was being taken.
Yeah, and I don't know if he knows the full extent of his power either, or how much he can use. Or it's just, I don't know. Was Gwaihir just blowing smoke up him? It's like, could he have actually let him go? And would he have floated? Can he fly? Aragorn says it as well, that you can travel much quicker than I can. What can he do? Can he just bounce around? Again, rumors from all lands are coming to his ears. You know what I mean? So, at some point, they do a good job in the film, too, of when he gets that gasp for air. Right, and he comes back, right?
Yeah.
Before that, though, his body's there, and you can almost imagine this absorption of power and knowledge and things coming to him.
And when they show wheeling through thought and time, wheeling through the stars, how they show that spinning, and you feel this. That's the only time we see outer space in Lord of the Rings, right? It looks like the Millennium Falcon shooting through at light speed almost. We see these stars wheeling by, and you get that idea or that concept of all-knowingness.
Yeah.
Right? Right. Like a visual of all that knowledge flooding him, that awareness almost. Just a heightened awareness.
Right.
More in tune with what's going on.
Yep.
So pretty much he goes to Karis Galadon, where he rests up, talks to Galadriel, gets some clothes on, takes counsel, right? And he comes back with 3 messages.
He does, yeah, which is awesome. So he tells, he says, "Where are the Dunedain? Elisar, why did thy kinsfolk wander afar? Near is the hour when the lost should come forth. The Grey Company and the Grey Company ride from the north, but dark is the path appointed to thee. The dead watch the road that leads to the sea." What the heck?
Yeah, that message for Aragorn of coming from Galadriel, and it's encoded. It's kind of cryptic, but it's a message of this is what you need to do. This is how you need to. This is your road back to becoming a king. Obviously we know the reference, the dead. That's the army of the dead going through the paths of the dead. Yeah, exactly.
Then to Legolas she says, "Legolas Greenleaf long under tree, in joy thou hast lived. Beware of the sea. If thou hearest the cry of the gull on the shore, thy heart shall then rest in the forest no more."
Yeah.
So again, just sort of
and also thinking about Legolas and Gimli's fate, their ultimate fate.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Having to do with that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. The one person though, he's a little bit worried.
Gimli's a little sad, isn't he?
He's upset. He didn't get any.
My lady didn't send me a
message. But Gandalf's got to think about, maybe this one throws him. You know what I mean? Because it's very different from the other two, right?
That's true. Yeah.
So he's kind of I don't really quite understand. What this is, where this is coming from.
Share a moment there. What's going on?
Yeah, but he says, or she says to him, to Gimli, son of Gloin, giving his lady's greeting, Lockbearer, wherever thou goest, my thought goes with thee, but have a care to lay thine axe to the right tree. Yeah.
Wow.
And then Gimli's just so happy, he's a little disappointed there, but then he's almost like bursting out. In happy hour you have returned to us, Gandalf. Like he's so just like, all right, let's go.
I got a text from my girl. I'm good.
Yeah, I'm back. So
my thought goes with the lockbearer.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy, man. Carrying those
all
hairs.
Right. And now it's time for haste. It's time for him to wrap himself in his old tattered cloak.
Yep.
He covers up the white, right? And they're kind of
that's right. That's where we get our horses back.
Right. We got to get those back. So Gandalf says he's not going to walk. Time presses. He lifted up his head and gave out this long, this long whistle. Right. It was probably long. There. Yes.
That's it, baby.
Nice job.
Doesn't he call him? Isn't it 3?
Yeah.
3 whistles again, man. The number 3.
Yeah, 3 times he whistled. Yep. And then off in the distance, he hears this whinny of a horse.
Bro, man. The way they did this in the film, it's almost kind of uncanny. Where is the part?
Yeah, he's got different levels of the whistling.
Yes, that was perfect.
Then,
but even the mannerisms of Shadowfax when he approaches Gandalf.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find what is it? Well, Aragorn points out, hey, there's more than one horse coming. Yeah, duh. And Gandalf goes, well, yeah, we need more than one horse.
Right, yeah.
Legolas with his elf eyes says, see how they run. There is Hasufel, and there is my friend Arad beside him. Right? And then beside them strides a very great horse. I have not seen his like before. Nor will you again, said Gandalf. That is Shadowfax. He is the chief of the Meras, lord of horses. Yeah. And not even Theoden, king of Rohan, has ever looked on a better. Does he not shine like silver as he runs smoothly as a swift stream? He has come for me, the horse of the White Rider. We are going to battle together. But just this little moment where he comes up to him, all right?
Right, yeah. When
the two others follow. Yep. And as soon as Shadowfax saw Gandalf, he checked his pace and whinnied loudly. Then, dude, hand to God. I go back and we're going to go watch it after this. This exact thing happens in the film.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they trained the horse to do it or if it was just like happy chance. Then trotting gently forward, he stooped his proud head and nuzzled his great nostrils against the old man's neck. Yeah. You can see him when this horse must really be Shadowfax. When it came up, you can see it kind of do this little bowing of its head. And it almost looks like just kind of the way the horse moves, but there's something to it, dude. It's a detail that echoes from the very penning of this book out into reality and is caught and reverberated in the film. Yeah. And it's moments like that where I go, can't top these movies.
No, you can't. That's why it's...
Can't top them.
Yeah.
That moment and the fact that Peter Jackson said, hey, let's put this in here. He could have skipped over that. It's not that big of a part in the book. It's a couple of paragraphs. He cut other characters out completely. And the fact that he left that moment for Shadowfax. Yeah, exactly. Amazing, man.
I know.
Amazing.
It is, actually.
Yeah.
Yep. So they just kind of go over who's going to ride which horse, and they all kind of get saddled up. Gimli joins Gandalf on Shadowfax, which is pretty awesome.
Yes.
Saddle up, partner. Which they didn't do that in the film, did they?
No, I think he rode with Legolas. Because they were bonding.
Either way, which is fine. Yeah.
It's cool.
But it's neat. And they just set their course, right? So they're heading to see Theoden, right? And they know that they're riding to war.
Yeah. And they catch a glimpse of that on the way.
They do, yeah.
They see the Gap of Rohan burning.
Yep. Right.
Battle and war.
And really, that's what. So to finish this off, he just says, Gandalf says, there lies the Gap of Rohan. It is now almost due west of us. That way lies Isengard. Yeah. I see a great smoke, said Legolas. What may that be? Battle and war, said Gandalf. Ride on. And so...
Amazing.
There's the White Rider.
Amazing.
Riding to battle. I love that chapter.
At the turning of a tide.
At the turning of the tide.
It's or just tiding of the turn.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever you want to say.
So awesome. Do you have any, I don't know, just to bring it all together,
I mean, a lot of those cool connections were kind of embedded. I mean, we went over them. I don't know. I feel very much like, Gandalf himself said that a tide has turned, and you feel that way in this chapter. I think you feel it slowly. Last chapter with Treebeard, and you're like, oh, well, these Ents are awesome. This is gonna solve the problem of Isengard. Yeah. We see their power. We learn, that they're upset by what the treachery of Saruman, and that anger is fueling them, or that I guess that need to put that right is what's giving them strength, even more strength. But yeah, I mean, like, what beats Gandalf coming back, and then being able to look. I think also what gives us great hope for the future is looking back and seeing he was never really gone.
Yeah,
he was kind of with us the whole way,
right?
And all these like inexplainable things. It was him. It was him all along. Yeah. That's got to give you great hope, and then also learning again and being reminded that the enemy is divided. There are two towers. There are two, Saruman is secretly vying against Mordor and the rest of the world. He wants the ring, and he wants to, defeat Sauron so he can be like the Dark Lord himself. Yeah. Yeah. Crazy, man. What about you? Well, is this one of your favorite chapters of the entire?
I mean, I just, there's more to come. I've looked ahead. Yeah. There's some really epic moments, where his sort of powers and abilities are like, shining through. Yeah. And he does sort of have this this increased sight, to see things, and even as they go along, like he continues to see Frodo and Sam's progress. Yeah. He's able to kind of perceive that and see into the land of Mordor, which is awesome. Yeah. He'll do something really cool with Saruman later on, which is awesome. Yep. So he's granted these awesome powers, but they're also still really checked and kind of he keeps them in reserve because it's his mind, it's his perception, it's his battle plans. Yeah. It's the idea that he has I don't know what he sees in the hobbits. Yeah. And putting faith, even just where you put your faith, who you trust. Yeah. That is
probably more important than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of where you see his powers kind of increase. He's more confident in those things, and things start to kind of come together, and you're like, the whole bit with Sam, he's like, wow, all right. He's like, did he really? Yeah. And that gives him great, hope and stuff. So it's just, I don't know, really awesome.
And it's almost like that test kind of narrowed his focus even more, didn't it? Like he was focused before, but I think kind of felt pulled in a lot of different directions. Mm-hmm. And here you have him. He's more, like you said, confident. He's more sure. Seems more like lasered in onto what needs to be done. How we even see it in the next chapter on how they get to, he's like, Shadowfax knows the way. He's going to take the shortcut to the Golden Hall, and we're going to be there in no time. Yeah. Yep. And we know we need to go talk to him. We got to get in quick. We have a lot to do, a lot to get done.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
All right. All right, friends. It's time for Bywater Post.
Let's do it.
You ready? All right.
Let's do it.
This first one here is from Tristan James. So again, we've got a list here, and we're working back through them. We're trying to do an episode 2 to 3, so we can get kind of caught up here. But he says, "Hey guys, my name is Tristan. This might be a long one. First off, thanks for the podcast. It has helped me on my Tolkien journey. I need to start this off by saying I'm a nerd. Okay.
Well, join the club.
Welcome
Tristan.
to the club. Yeah,
that's right.
I've always been a nerd and always will be. I learned to read by reading comic books. I obsess over movies. I reread Harry Potter every year. In fact, that's how I found you guys, Swish and Flick. I love Star Wars, Game of Thrones. I'm a nerd to the core." Well, I mean, honestly, then those are all some of my favorite things. So, Tristan, welcome. Yep. I remember seeing The Fellowship of the Ring in theaters when I was a kid. It was the first movie I had ever seen, or first movie that I'd ever seen that had an intermission. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And it blew my mind. I instantly made my mom buy me all the books. I started with The Hobbit and loved it, but then I got to Fellowship and got about 6 chapters in and had to put it down. I just couldn't do it for some reason. This continued to happen to me for the next 15 years. I picked up the book, read chapter 6, then put it down. At this point, all the movies are out, and I love all of them. My family's new tradition on Thanksgiving is we watch this is awesome, all the extended cuts of the movies. Wow. But I haven't read the books, and that kills me as a nerd. I want to know everything, and not reading the books puts a big hole in my nerd cred. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. All right. Then one day, while listening to my favorite Harry Potter podcast, they mentioned your podcast, and I knew that this was the thing for me, the thing that was going to help me get started. So I started. I would read a chapter, then listen to the podcast, and then read a chapter and listen to the podcast. That's awesome. That is what it's all about,
cool.
man.
That's so cool.
Then came the dreaded chapter 6. And with all of the help of the podcast, I blew through it and continued on my journey.
Yeah, baby.
That's awesome.
That's right. That's what we're here for, to help each other.
Then it got to the point where I was hooked and started flying through the book without having to stop. You know, that's actually like that happens to me. I'll actually reach a point where it's like, okay, I'm going chapter by chapter, and then I'll hit a chapter that really inspires me. And it's like, boom. Next thing you know, 3 chapters away, and really moving through it. So Tristan says, I love the books. I'm always I'm halfway through Return of the King now and loving every second of it.
Wow.
Thank you guys. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. You are clearly the Gandalf on my journey. Again, thank you. If you're ever in the Rivendell of America, Oregon, hit me up, and the beers are on me.
Nice.
Thanks, Tristan. Wow, that's awesome.
That's awesome, man.
I may actually be out there soon. So
that's right. You got your buddy Matt out there.
This wizard just travels around.
I would love to go to Rivendell sometime. Yeah, I've always wanted to. Sarah and I have always wanted to get up to the Pacific Northwest, man. That's a goal. So.
Also, I mean, they got the if you go up to Seattle there, they've got the original Starbucks and Pike Avenue and all that kind of stuff.
Pike Place.
Yeah, be really cool.
That would be. Get some good coffee. You would have to have yours cold. I love it though that he talks about hitting that chapter 6.
Yeah,
and that was like kind of like the wall,
right?
And it makes sense because, and one of the things we love about it, the Fellowship of the Ring, is it's kind of slower to get started. Right. Especially when you think about now. I mean, you look at all the chapters we're hitting through. I mean, the Treebeard and the Ents are ready to go destroy Isengard.
Right.
Gandalf just came back. We're going to go to the Golden Hall. Then we're going right away to Helm's Deep. Then we're going to go deal with Saruman. I mean, it's bang, bang, bang in the Two Towers and Return of the King. The beginning of the Fellowship, I can see why he would get, why
is anybody would get
stuck there and...
I think
trusting my knowledge
I think it is. I think I just looked at it. I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay. Yeah. So,
roundabouts there. Sure.
Yeah. A little slower. And Tom throws people off sometimes too because he's not in the movies. And if you saw the movies first, you're like, what? What's going on? Who is this guy? He's kind of bizarre.
Who is this guy?
And you grow to love him. So that's cool, Tristan, man. Definitely going to have to take you up on that journey out to Rivendell with some libations there.
Yep.
We have Alina Nicoletta next.
Yep.
Hi, guys. I don't even know if this is the proper place to send this message. I got through anyway. At least it didn't happen, to get into Butterbird's hands. But I've been listening to your podcast for the past couple of weeks. Am just at the Caradhras, had defeated them bit at the moment. I have also been listening to the Bywater Post sections every podcast and smiled so much at people's various stories. That's cool. We were talking about like if people go to an episode and listen to a specific part.
Right, yeah.
We were talking about that before we recorded today. I'm from all the way in Romania.
Yeah.
Wow. If you check the map of Europe superimposed over the map of Middle Earth, Romania is somewhere north of Mordor. Ooh.
All right.
In the inland sea of Rhune region, in the area where they make the great Dorwinian wine, I guess. English is my second language, but the first language of my heart. And the reason for this is Tolkien. Wow, how cool.
Wow.
Like many other people, I came to Tolkien via the Fellowship of the Ring movie, but it has been a strange journey. I saw the first movie and was immediately captured by this world that opened up before me. I could only find the last book to read in my native tongue, and you can imagine how much sense that made without the middle book. Yeah. Eventually, I got hold of the other books and completed the journey as the movies came out. That's awesome. But then one day, a friend and fellow Lord of the Rings lover said to me, you see, there is this thing called the Silmarillion.
Yep.
From the get-go, it was elves I wanted to see more and learn more about. And so the idea of a whole book with only elves and their history in it, it became like the Holy Grail to me.
Yeah.
And almost as hard to come by. There were no translated Silmarillion books to buy or borrow at the time. That's crazy. So my only choice was to get it off the internet somehow, print it, and read it in English. The first book in English I ever attempted to read. Wow. Holy crap! Wow. Meanwhile, my English was essentially what I had learned in school. and that was the mere basics. Wow, that's amazing. That's kind of like Frodo taking the ring to Mount Doom.
Yeah.
In hindsight, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to me, because only the ambition to read the Silmarillion and understand it could have gotten me on the journey to be fluent in English.
Wow,
this is unreal, dude.
This is cool.
It was so very hard. I had the printed pages of text and then a huge dictionary to hunt words in, and also maps and scraps of paper where I wrote down the names and family trees. I imagine like Gandalf in the libraries of Minas Tirith.
Yeah.
I went back. I look back on that and smile now, from the lofty perch of being an utter elf nerd at the moment. It was an experience I will never forget, and also the place and time where I never again retranslated books, because so much gets lost in translation, and the nuances of the original language cannot be translated or replaced. That's incredibly interesting.
I think we had someone say
before.
that last week or the week before. Yeah,
and I can imagine, because they're languages are so different that way. And the
yellow.
way you say something, is just as important as what you are saying. I have been enjoying the Lord of the Rings journey with the two of you immensely. Your enthusiasm and love for everything in the books is music to one's ears. I cannot tell you how many times I have screeched, Glorfindel, along with you. Actually, I can. I did it every time, even though my heart lies not so much with Glorfindel and Elrond and the branch of the Noldor family trees as much as it does with Fëanor and his fantastic brood of 7.
Oh boy, here we go.
Over my head. I cannot wait for you to tackle the Silmarillion, oh boy, and get to that lot. Ezra's pretty excited. I'm getting there, but Alina.
I thought Fëanor was. I thought they were kind of, I don't know. Didn't they cause a little bit of trouble?
Ezra,
I think they did.
You're asking the wrong guy.
I think they did.
Alina, with your story now, I think that I'm a little more ready to join Ezra.
Yeah, man. If she could tackle it, and it was in, she was learning English, and
I think she's got some elven powers.
Well,
dude.
she does.
I think
clearly.
I think for me, it's gonna be like I don't know, Homer Simpson backing into a bush. All of the cheers and thanks for everything you do. And may you always have the excitement and the awe that makes listening to your podcast such a wonderful experience. Wow, that's amazing. Well, you know what? It comes from you guys, honestly. So thank you. Best wishes from Romania. Alina Enarian is by her Elvish name.
Wow.
Enarian. Enarian? I don't even know if I'm saying that
the right
way.
That sounds great.
That's beautiful. All right, cool. Alina, thank you so much. Wow.
That's awesome.
Got to get out to Romania, man. We got to do a European tour. All right. The future is bright, my friend.
Yeah.
Great Bywater posts as always. Snowed Under, we were just talking actually about how many different stories you guys have sent in. How many of you have sent in stories, rather? It seems like we get another 2 or 3 every week. We are working through those systematically. So, if you send it in, we're getting to it. And our favorite part of every episode is reading your stories. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Kind of losing my voice here. Sorry. We're going to get into some strawberries with cream. Let's take a little sniff of that candle.
Yeah. Let's get the candles out here, because these are. Let me get this one. These are beautiful, man. We should have pictures on the group now. Oh,
man,
there it is.
Man, that is delicious.
Get a little
nice and that strawberry smell is about as on point.
Is it weird that I want to stick my tongue in this
I
candle?
want to eat it too. You go first. Stick your tongue in there.
You want to?
Yeah, do it.
Really?
I'll
Seriously?
do it too.
Okay.
It's natural. It's not going to hurt us.
Nothing. Yeah, we're good. It's just waxy.
Okay. Burt's Bees. That's what I'm tasting.
Oh, it's so good.
Rachel, thank you so much. It's amazing. Okay, so strawberries with cream. We get a pretty massive comeback in this chapter. What, in your opinion, is the greatest comeback of all time? It can be, a book, a film, or show, or your personal life, Ezra.
What the heck? So can I do multiple? I mean, the greatest comeback in this series is...
I said one.
Is Gandalf. Okay, so I'm going to do multiple because I like to go break the rules.
What a jerk.
So Gandalf, is obviously... That's why you made the strawberries with cream, because it's the best, right? It makes you think of... this awesome comeback.
Yeah, that's exactly my intention.
I mean, I know you're going to have something, you're good.
I actually don't know what I'm going to say yet.
You're
good.
Buying time. Well, no, your good pal Aragorn later on is going to have...
that's quite a return.
So...
of the king. Dumbest title ever? Yes, it is. And Tolkien didn't like it either. So Gandalf, okay. How about something from
personal life and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, actually, if you want to look at just
other stories, even too,
other films here,
Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi.
I was actually going to say Rocky Balboa.
Wow.
Rocky. Adrian. Dude, I mean, come on, man. That's a great comeback.
I'm just imitating Sylvester Stallone.
I know you are. Yeah, that's a great comeback. I'm trying to think of some other really good comebacks.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really like him anymore. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Tiger Woods recently started a good comeback.
Tiger's not dead. When people say Tiger's done, they're full of crap.
He's
coming back, and he's coming back strong, guys. Never count Tiger out.
He did. So,
okay, greatest comeback of all time. Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
Cleveland Browns. It hasn't happened yet, but when it does, boy, I tell you what, the world will burn.
Yeah.
In the most positive way ever. Now, the one that comes to my mind actually is LeBron James.
Okay.
Because, a lot of people know LeBron James, obviously, best basketball player of all time, arguably, the global superstar for basketball right now. But what you might not know... Coming home, tell them coming home. Do I need to pull the song up?
No, please don't.
What people outside of Ohio, maybe even America, might not know is that he is actually, when he came back, he's always been a very generous person, but when he came back to Cleveland to play, he did a lot to invest into his hometown, into the community, into Akron Public Schools. He actually has a charter school that's a part of the public schools that he's funding, and he's actually taking kids who are in lower economic status homes, who might not have the option of a nice school to attend. Their options are probably very limited because the funding to the schools is very limited, and it's a whole other story.
Yeah.
But giving them backpacks, giving them bikes, and wanting to make this a worldwide thing. Like he wants to open LeBron James schools throughout Akron, Ohio, I don't know, the world maybe. So anyway, that's a huge comeback. Nice dude, great guy, and then he left again. Great comebacks.
I was gonna say the one that people were probably like, I can't believe they didn't mention this yet. On the third day.
Yeah, Jesus was a pretty big comeback. That goes without saying. Quite a.
Sorry, I'm just like we're talking about all these people. I'm sure someone's like, are they going to mention?
Probably the only one that can upstage Gandalf is Jesus. And I'm going to say Ezra.
Me?
The great comeback of Ezra Kirk. We were great friends for many years.
Hey, yeah.
And then much like Gandalf, he kind of took his own way, and I took my own way.
You're so clever. I should have thought of that too.
And just the great comeback of our friendship.
Yep.
Honestly.
Preach it.
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
I'm not either, actually. And that's me. I'm really glad you brought that up.
Glad you think of me that highly. So anyway, Strivers is cream. Tell us Rudy is another one. It's not really a comeback, though. It's like an underdog story. Yeah. Comeback's kind of hard to define.
Yeah. I don't really know.
Maybe it's not. Time to share the load. Some Patreon business.
Yeah, I think the only quick update we wanted to mention is that so we already had the cutoff for the up T-shirts, and so we have those. We have sizes and everything. We actually decided they're going to be back to back, bang bang. We have the shirts that are coming up for December. We're going to get them to you guys by Christmas. So everybody who is still in the elf tier or higher, you guys have a new shirt coming your way. If you already have
shed a tear from my elves,
yeah. What are you doing? If you already have the up shirt, then obviously you're not getting a second one, but...
Jeez, wow.
Well, I'm
kidding.
Yes, if you wanted to say, I don't know, but figured you'd want a different shirt, So we're going to probably send both of those out at the same time. Because just shipping-wise, it costs less money, and so we talked that over, and we talked to Rob, and I think that's just going to be better. So so that'll be nice. We'll get you guys a nice little package there, and so, we've actually... We've got a couple new. We did not get a chance to do a.
We didn't do that walk.
No, we didn't do the walk.
Last episode, we didn't go out for the walk. It was just kind of late, and Ezra needed to get home.
I don't even know if you realized though. I cut all of that out. I didn't even mention that I cut off the part where we said.
Never mind then.
Yeah.
All right, you got some more editing to do.
People are like,
sorry, bud.
What are you talking about?
Snip, snip.
No, I'm not. I'm leaving it in. The one thing that we didn't do that we are going to do next week is. Gosh, let me finish my thought. Goldberry. We're gonna have Goldberry come on and do some comments.
Yes.
So we have some from
Patreon profile.
Yeah.
Premium Patreon
Phil's up first.
Profile.
And then we've got Jennifer next, and we'll kind of keep going as we get more responses in from our top tier patrons.
Yes. So, do they know the premise of that?
What? I mean,
Goldberry asked.
Did we not talk about that?
Questions. I can't remember. I'm just going to throw it out now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Goldberry asked them some questions we sent to them, and they're going to respond, and then Goldberry's going to read it on the episode, which would be really cool.
So in other quarters of
Tolkien related.
Yeah, it's like I mean, we don't do advertisements, guys. I mean, unless it's
apart from these candles,
or like
and Jake Hodgson, Warhammer Time, and Katie Serva with the stickers, because we believe in you guys, and you guys are awesome. So by the way, go buy some of that stuff because you're supporting your family.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the kind of stuff that we do. But we are supported by you guys. We're supported by our patrons. So what do you mean?
No, just give me your hand.
Your hand? Okay. You gonna hold my hand? What the heck is that?
Felt like sunlight was in your fingertips.
That's such a weird way to...
Dude, you know what?
Lane just... All right, never mind.
You're weird.
So anyways, guys, the point is, Lane, let me tell the people the point. That we love you guys and we appreciate your support. And so we wanted a way to kind of show you guys some more love through Patreon. We also have... we're going to have some special guests on the appendices. So some of our top tier patrons are going to be on there as well. We're going to have them as a guest on some episodes. And by the way, we if you saw that Patreon was like disabled the other day, apparently every other podcast is allowed to do a monthly giveaway except for us.
Yeah, you know what? Patreon.
Some terms.
What is it called? Patron? What is it called?
What's it called? I don't even know.
Patreonian.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys need, just because we're on your radar now as a book club, you need to go check out some other of your patrons, okay?
Yeah.
All right? If you're going to come down hard on us, and if you're gonna strip our patrons of their rewards, you better come down on some others. And I know you're listening.
I know you are.
All right? And it's 1:00, and I've had coffee, so this is not fueled by anything else other than pure hunger.
Okay. No, but we actually still, though, are going to do a bi-monthly giveaway, though. So we're just kind of giving people who are in those top two tiers. We can't list that on the page, but we are going to kind of open that up to different people. And
trying to stop us.
Well, a bunch of other podcasts
do.
It's a technicality, so I'm going to do it, So
I don't know what
try and stop
I don't know what technicality means, but I'm
Me neither.
right there with you, bud.
Anyways, guys, head on over to patreon.com/. Up Talking Tolkien, and you can get all that goodness there. We've got, I think, some time today to do some appendices. I've got some backlogged. And, by the way, the Bywater Post...
Are you backlogged? Is that what you said?
I'm backlogged. The Bywater Post is...
some fiber.
I figured it's going to be easier for me to do bi-monthly, so I actually wrote one for October, but then I went on that trip and I never sent it. Did you see that? I sent it in the email. I saw
it in the email.
I sent the newsletter to myself to send to all of you guys for October, and then I didn't send it because I got so busy. So I was like, well, I guess it's turning into a November, newsletter. Yeah. So, and then I thought, you know what, that's probably easier just to do like a buy, 6 a year. That's pretty solid.
We got too many buys going on.
A lot of it.
Bi-monthly Bywater Post?
Right.
Bi-monthly water post.
That's what I said. Bi-monthly water post.
All right, guys, it's been fun. Actually, Ezra, I think this is the most fun we've ever had. Wow, dude, all the way up the leg. What is your problem? Most fun we've ever had. It was kind of unexpected and felt like the White Rider was sitting right with us and shining his light upon our noses.
Yeah, he was.
And our eyes were glowing with the glint of our giant computer screens and our glasses.
Yep.
Time for some weekly well wishes, formerly fortnight farewells. We want to thank you for, stepping into the woods, the forest with us. Our next episode will be breaking into chapter 6 of book 3, The King of the Golden Hall. We'll break it in with staffs in hand.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If you like our podcast, don't forget to subscribe, like us, write a review, leave a comment, or send us a Shadowfax.
We'll see you in a Hobbit fortnight, and remember, Frodo lives.